Hey guys, welcome to the close. Couple hours left in the trading session here. We're dealing with day lows, unfortunately, for the market right now. A little bit more selling pressure coming back in as we head towards the end of the day. Otherwise, though, pretty choppy day back and forth for not only the market, but a lot of individual names. I'll give you a look at where we're at right now as we head into, as I said, the final couple hours here. 0.64 for the S&P, the Dow 0.3. It is NASDAQ and tech stocks here leading the way back to the downside. We had that Apple news there on some payment technology that has payment firms back to the downside. We'll talk about those coming up here. But we're red here in Toronto as well for the TSX. Crude oil still holding on to a nice gain there. Cryptocurrencies back in positive territory as well. That is the big board at this point. Yeah, much more red than green from the last time we spoke here. Only the energy group in the corner down here in positive territory. You can't see it, but trust me when I say underneath that, the utilities group is also positive. Everything else, though, pretty red. It's the tech group that's leading, as I said. PayX had some news positive, but everything else to the downside. Consumer discretionary stocks leading as far as decliners are concerned. Travel names are red on the day. We have some of the retailers under pressure as well. Another 3% for Home Depot. That's getting to a point where it probably needs to be bought. Etsy and Lowe's as well, 4 and 3.8%. Best Buy, 2.9% to the downside there. This is the banking group. We were talking about the banks under pressure. If you joined us this morning, it was the individual banks, in fact, that were leading as far as individual stocks are concerned. Diversified financials also back in negative territory. Everything else, little change really one way or the other. That's the NASDAQ, if you were wondering. Lululemon, yeah, having a nice day off earnings. Moderna back to the downside. They got FDA approval for a second booster, 50 plus in the U.S. Underneath that, AZN, you can't see it, but AstraZeneca is also green. Everything else doing not so good, pretty red. One of those days, as I said, back to the downside. We're at session lows right now as we head into the final couple hours. Welcome. Hope you're doing well. Hope your day is going well. We'll take a moment here and have a look back at how we traded the open this morning and how we traded the first couple of hours. If you join us every morning, 8:30 to 9:30, we give you all the opportunities, walk you through how to approach them at the open at 9:30. And we spend some time, go back, see what we did wrong, see what we did okay, and see how we can learn and do better tomorrow, because that's what you do as a trader, right? Neil's going to lead the way here. Talk us through one of his trades from this morning.
Thank you very much. We're going to talk about Gamestop. The meme stocks have been in play. You know they're moving. You come in with anticipation that you're going to get that volatility, that you're going to get those trading opportunities, so you've got to be ready for them. And it's not always about being up, down, how much you win or lose. You can always learn from those trades. So while I'm going to show you what was a pretty good setup and ended up being solid, there's a lot that we could have done better about this trade. So this is a context. And I actually have gone with a 5-minute chart because, truthfully, most of this is about what happened yesterday's trade. In a couple of days of a monster run in GameStop, AMC as well, but it was the huge break and rejection off of 200 that sort of set the stage for this morning. You get a monster pullback, rug pull, whatever you want to call it. I mean, it's still at $180, right? But rug pull in the single day, and then we settle back in right at the end of the day into a 180 range. You had a wick bottom at 175. And we're trading and watching that level right at the end of the day yesterday. So that's your channel. You even have a higher low here at about 177. That sort of sets the stage. You got your bottom, you have that consolidation, you have the first level of support. So we fast forward to in the morning, coming into these levels. Now, if I'm thinking about a level breakdown, okay, if it breaks this, we've got room to the downside, it was that 175. So it seems pretty simple. You could say to yourself, short 175, stop at 77, or stop at 80. That seems like a simple premise, right? Now, obviously, we're going to end up getting in at 175. And here's where it gets tricky. You cannot get caught between two separate trades. And this is exactly what ends up happening to me here is instead of just saying set it and forget it, allow it to either break that 77 or that 80 level, we end up saying, you know what, I don't love that concept. I want to play the pop and roll with GameStop. It's likely to go crazy at the open, so I end up just trimming some for what amounted to a small, meaningless win. And then when it started popping, it's like, okay, let's go pop and fade. And it starts screaming against me. And next thing you know, I'm taking it out and it's not really testing that level. We end up getting out of the trade. It's like, oh, what are we even doing here? And in that moment, if you have a plan, you can go back to it. If you don't, you should just sit it out. We go right back to the notion of, if this is the channel that is supposed to be the top end of the range and true failure is at 175, well, you've already decided not to go with that 75 trade. Go right back to the top end of the channel. What was your original plan? It was to make that fade off the level. And when it comes up here, tests the high and rolls over in your channel of entry range, cannot break out of it. No matter what you've done before that, if I think it's a short, it is jump into the short position. So we end up getting that short back at 176. It's a roundabout way of going small win, somewhat big loss, to finally just take the trade that we're supposed to have in the first place. At 9:30, things can go crazy, and it's easy, very, very easy to see dollar signs and price movement and just go into hit that key mode. I want to be aggressive. When that happens to you, slow things down, go back to the overall plan, jump right into it. The stop goes in at 180. It never really does get tested. And then there's the flush. We end up flushing all the way down through to 170. When it broke 170, I did think that we were going to head down into the 165 range, but it didn't really happen. You can sort of see what happened the day before at that 170 mark. So I thought there was room below once it went. We got halfway through, and at this moment here, when we tested it the second or third time, we said, look, we got to get out of this. AMC was making a bottom at the same time as well. Let's just get out of the trade, walk away from it. There was one more test off of the pre-market high for a nice little scalp trade, and then basically sit it out. You've gone down towards that first target at 170. It's given you the move. At the point that it retakes this here, after finding that support at the 170 on the 5 minute the day before, rest of it's done. If you've got yourself some long setups, maybe you could have caught something off the V-shaped bottom, but that short setup is no longer there. The trade was in there, and we're able to get something out of it. But the real story is, it should have been the best stock that I traded today. It was a simple setup. It did give you just that chance for a one-and-done style trade and just grab your $6, $7, $8 and run to the hills. Instead, I got cute. At least we're able to get back on target, remember what the original levels and channels were, realize that our thesis wasn't violated, and quickly jump back to the trade that we should have put on in the first place. And when you're trading something like a Gamestop, especially going to the short side, you better stick to your plan. Because the day that it's really strong, it's going to run you over like an absolute freight train. So stick to the plan. That's what it's always about.
Definitely have a plan, first of all, and then definitely stick to that plan. Yeah, meme stocks back to the downside here a little bit after that pop in GME that happened going back an hour or so ago. But nice look for GameStop today, guys. That's the watch list. We have a lot to get into, so Miss V will help you out with the link for that in the chat if you do need it. I wanted to talk about Boeing here because we're trying to get back to day highs for Boeing to kick things off. If you missed it, China Southern, which is the airline in China which had that unfortunate crash going back a week ago of a Boeing plane, came out around lunchtime with their fleet plans for the remainder of the year. Those plans suggested not only will they continue using the Boeing plane that crashed, but they're also, guys, going to order more of them from Boeing. So nice look here, up 1% for BA.
Yo, what's up?
That's
yeah,
big.
I mean, look, this was the main reason why, honestly, I bought Boeing in the first place, was like all these orders supposedly coming from China. So it's nice to see them starting to come through right now. You can see, though, Boeing on a 20 period, it's just starting to take out some highs right now. Despite the market being down, you're starting to take out some levels here at 196, and there it goes, straight through right there. So if this is, I'm thinking that this is just a sentiment here, like if they're going to support I guess China Air or whatever that airline was there, they're going to support, so then hopefully others flow through as well. I haven't really looked at this that much. Where's the daily chart here? But I know I like Boeing. It's trying to take out this 50 period. So yeah, I like the name. I think you continue to buy it. I don't own any airline stocks, but I do like Boeing, just, you know, the makers of the plane there. Whenever you're in a monopoly type of situation, I like it. Obviously, there's Airbus. I actually flew on an Airbus, but there you go. So down to the downside. I think as airlines pick pick up as the world reopens up here. You're going to see a lot of order flow coming for Boeing. So I like them. Missed the trade today, but there it goes, man. Even just as we're starting to talk about it, wow, Boeing just doubling up here, just ripping through. Like, that was a great buy. I actually missed the story. I've been trading Mullen. You can see Mullen, we have a 30-cent winner right now, MULN. So that's going to be a good one. But Boeing, wow, just needless to say, it's taking off here, guys.
That's crazy. Like, I sat back down.
Pun there, yeah.
That's a great pun, first of all.
It's okay.
Taking off. What? Look, man.
It's not lift off.
You've got to use the puns when they're out there for you.
It's flying. There we go.
But
yeah, good one.
It just broke a double top, right? So Brendan just brought the news story. We're highlighting it, and there's a double top. I did try very, very quickly. Well, obviously not very quickly because I wasn't fast enough. To get this, the high from yesterday gets taken out right there. Like, there's your 190, it was like 196.40 or something like that. I did miss it, and it's also pretty much right at the 50 period. So unbelievable run off the bottom here. And the context of it being able to make this kind of remove, given everything else surrounding it, is certainly fantastic, right? Like, that's a lot of strength that we're going to be seeing in the stock. Maybe it comes back down to give that 96.5 and you can buy the dip, but this feels like the kind of name that has a chance. The market wants to rebound and get a shot at going green here today. You know, Boeing is the kind of name that could be doing some heavy lifting with some obviously positive news there.
I wanted to show that picture of Mullen. Give me a second here. We'll talk about Mullen, guys, obviously, in a second, but well, let's go to Tesla first. Obviously, the other angle of that Boeing story is simply the fact that if the airline still has confidence in the plane, maybe that suggests that this crash, although we have no, confirmation of any sort as to why the plane crashed, but maybe that suggests that the crash was not due to mechanical issues as well. Let's talk Tesla. We had a pop in Tesla around lunchtime as well, kind of faded off. But was very strong this morning off of that Biden comment, talking about bringing more battery metal manufacturing to the U.S. So Tesla back to 1,100 again today.
I mean, well, I know we're going to talk a little bit about Tesla here at 1,100, but I mean, this is Mullen here. We went absolutely crazy on this trade, long through 273. We talked about this on the show. We got stopped. So first trade on Mullen, we took the long right here, out in the 80s. You can look back at the chart and figure out why we took those outs. But right now, you can see it came back in. We got out on the break of 70, and then we got right back in. And this is what's been happening right now, back up to 315 Mullen. The reason why I bring it up now is simply because if you see what happened to Mullen, and then Neil, you tell me why this happened as well. So that's at like 105. I don't know either. Yeah, it's kind of like a rhetorical question. But you're going to be able to see right now Tesla at about 113. I don't know. 5 minutes later, Tesla pumped there, $11, $12. So I don't know if people thought that maybe Tesla was going to switch over and start buying some Mullen trucks or vans, I guess, there. But anyways, Tesla with a big spike up and now with a big fade in. So, yeah, the market, I mean, we still like Tesla. Tesla has a big, huge move coming, I feel, anyways. We saw the rally the last time it split. Today, you're still positive. I mean, anyways, back and forth. You're at zero here. With the NASDAQ, we can feel like it's a little heavy today, yet Tesla's kind of saying, hold my beer to the bears. So, yeah, I don't know. I feel like Tesla's always going to be along for the next little while until something comes out, maybe even until earnings. Tesla, to me, is a buy all of these dips, and that's about that. I mean, it did hover around 1,100 a couple times. Every time it's been down here, the bottom's been 96. We opened up lower and ripped right through. So maybe there's something to this 1114. I mean, that's, double topped right there. Normally that's a good short. I think it's a short the next time until it breaks 1115. So, getting short into here in the mid-teen or low teens, I can't argue with that, but I don't think I like the short overall on this name.
So yeah, it's a tricky short. I think you have to have something you really believe in when you short Tesla, right? And we've talked about that, like 1,000, 1,100, 1,200 when it gets there. Like, that's the kind of thing that makes sense. But you go back to mid-January, and it did have this lower high then at 1115. So I think that's essentially what you're running into. And for whatever reason, it can't seem even on strength to get through there. Clearly, we're kind of being tongue-in-cheek about, are they buying Mullen vans? But it was a weird spike, and it definitely led to some people trying to put some dots together. But it seems like it was a coincidence. I don't get why it made the move, but yet here it is. I don't love the notion of trying to short this. I feel like if Tesla gets there, the market's trying to go green. and I don't like that combination of shorting that level. I suppose on that volume spike, there was likely one of those like liquidity vacuum events where if you short just in front of the high there, that actually is not a horrible trade, right? Like if you just look at those big levels in the chart, the day's high, and you go parabolic on essentially nothing into a day's high, that's typically not a bad short because you know where you're wrong. It was a vacuum anyways. The pullback tends to happen on that kind of a thing. So you can always try that trade, but if it gets up there, I bet you the market's going green, and I don't want to be shorting the high on Tesla if the market's trying to go green.
All right, if anyone's kind of wondering what on earth is a Mullen and why are they ordering vans, around lunchtime as well, the CEO in an interview actually said, and I quote, "A fairly large company will be buying the company's van vehicles in the close future." So we'll show you the vans here. These are the, I guess, electric cargo vans that Mullen has available. So a fairly large company, guys, is going to be buying a bunch of those, according to the CEO.
Right. Well,
160 miles.
Look, I'm not even sure, like, I don't know, legally or anything like that, like what these guys are allowed to say about who's buying what and what kind of businesses they have. But I guess it's okay to talk like that. So Mullen CEO right now coming out and saying that, and that was enough for me. You're never going to catch the first move on that. I mean, if you happen to be watching a news source and you see something like that, then obviously take advantage a little bit earlier. But we do break those pre-morning highs of 240, and then it goes off to the races. My long doesn't start until we finally, maybe there's, anyways, it finally started to barcode a little bit. And then once we went back in, we tested 250, then started to go back up. We actually used this high right here of a high break of 270. That's it. So it breaks through that 270. We take the long and able to get out, and then we get back. So again, 270 in, 77s out, 82s, 84s, 86s. Then as it's coming back down, 76, 78, 79, and then it breaks lower. So this fill's not there. It breaks lower. We get out 68. So we're still up on the stock. But then it comes right back, and we're using that as that wick bottom. So I go long again at 270. This time I was like, 270. And then all of a sudden it holds these bottoms of 269, and then boom to the upside. There it goes. And now as you can see, if I zoom this back out, it does touch that high of 315. So if you come back in, this is the one-day chart. We've already talked about this. 350 looks like it's been a pretty good high here for Mullen. So we'll see if it continues to go. I'm going to hold long until we break my current price, which I don't know when that's going to happen, but I'm going to stay long Mullen right now. And I feel like when you say something like that, man, what if the bigger company now comes out and confirms it? I don't know. So here we go. Mullen will hold it until we're wrong. And right now it's 35 cents, 31 cents in the money. And we're happy with this Mullen trade. And again, that's part of it, man. We always reload. Sometimes, not always, but when you get that big wick down and it doesn't, expose these lower levels, then we take it to the upside, and let's see if Mullen takes out 315. I'm a holder until I'm not.
Yeah, and it was a battle at $3, a crazy battle at $3. I know because I was on either side of it like a couple of times. It would work to 75, and then it would come right back and test. It would work to 85, but then it did two breakouts of the top, and that's when you just got to walk away from it till 350. And realistically, that is a level up. And usually, if the company or whatever company it might be does come out, it's because the rumors get too loud, and they just feel like they have to make a statement. But it doesn't mean it has to happen. But typically speaking, if you're going to hear something, it could be within the next couple of days. And if you don't, then who knows? But you want to keep your ear to the ground, because sometimes if it's out there and then people start making guesses and those guesses start hitting close to home, well, then it behooves the company that it would be to come out and make a statement, which is what we should be looking out for. Thankfully, we have Brendan, so we know we'll get it if it comes.
Yeah, it somewhat reminds me of the USPS order that was to be, and then for months and months it was coming, and then it finally arrived, and it was Oshkosh instead of what everyone thought it was going to be. Anyways, Micron, we were talking about this morning. I just noticed, I hadn't looked back at this, but gives it all back, and then some, guys. We're red and falling here for MU off earnings.
It has been what we like to say on the show here, Tank City, for our boys from Mullen, or from Micron, not Mullen, the opposite for Mullen. Yeah, we talked about it today. We hit the longs early, man. We made the money on this trade. There's no doubt about it. It was a great trade for us early. And then this is where we started to really make the money off of these 81.50 longs all the way back up to 82 and change. This started happening just as we ended the show. So we let it fall back down. And then if you look at our sticky note here, again, I'm going to talk about it because we have a key level on here, and that's really why, is that I talked about here long support back to 82, right? And so once that 82 broke on the sticky note at Trader TV, Sean, that's where we started to go long, and then we just used, like, there's the 82 right there. It breaks and we get out, okay? But then we kind of, let me take off these trades actually here quickly for you, so you can see these wicks and stuff that I'm talking about. Like, it made this wick bottom here, like that we always talk about, right there, off that 82. So here's the break of 82. Everybody looking at it, that wick bottom gets me long, and then it explodes back up, and then we start getting out for like the dollar. So it was a good trade back there for MU. But look what happened since. As soon as that 82 was broken back down again to the downside, then you just keep on falling, man. And then now we'll put our trades back on. We did test one more long inside here on this, and it was actually a decent one for us. We got in here at 81.60 on, again, another wick down, got those out for about 20 cents, then took a bit at 81.50, got those out for just 10 cents, it looks like, or that was 81. Yeah, 45, so 15 cents. Then it breaks the same price we're in, and then there's nothing else after that. So as the NASDAQ continues to fall down, you are seeing Micron continue to fall. I was not expecting this. I mean, this was a big earnings report for them, I felt like. And anyways, I'm not going to fight the tape. And I mean, that's really the whole point. I've been caught fighting the tape at Facebook, and then I can show you about that stock as well, where that stock is now considering my shorts, and we will get to that. But there it is, making some nice bottoms. I actually have a bid down here at about 80.25 to use 80 as some resistance. So I don't know if that's going to be true or not, but there's the 200 period is at 79.50, and 80, there's always a flock to these round numbers. So let's see if it just dips down a little bit more. We'll test the long, but I'm not taking a long now at 80.50 because it's only down 1.83%. It could go a lot lower than that, and I'd rather just be a little bit closer to the chest here at about 80.25, trying to risk about 25 cents.
This morning, I sort of said to myself, if this was the resistance level, 80 to 81, that price area, when the market was ripping, and it clearly was, because Micron couldn't get through no matter what everything else in the space was doing, and there's that 200 period, that was a level that I would be shocked if it couldn't find a bounce. So it took all day for it to get here. It's now pretty close. That the 50 period's below 80, so you really are looking at 79.5, and that's what I'll try to take it long in front of. It probably needs to get closer to 80 to be a trade, but hey, we've waited this long. We can be patient with it as the market feels like it wants to take us down to that price range anyways. It's not about the report. You know, like you really couldn't point to anything negative about it. You can't point to a poor valuation for them either because they're ridiculously cheap. In fact, they might be the cheapest name in the space on a PE basis. They might be. Maybe there's something else, but they might be. So there's really nothing you can say negative about it, but a lot of times it was just so weak before the report that it just couldn't hold up today. We'll see if it can hold up at that 200 period.
Just watching this FRGE starting to go again, guys. Heads up on that. Crazy, crazy stock. Apple comes out mid-afternoon there and says they're working on technology for finance and payment technology to move that in-house, according to Bloomberg. So yeah, some of the payment companies, not a fan of that news, including PayPal down 1.8. I mean, Square got hit on that. Affirm got hit on that. A lot of these stocks that have already been under pressure back to the downside.
So you'll probably see, like, I'm sitting in Apple in this channel. It'll probably break it 78 and get me out of it, essentially playing the pullback on that news. And then the other thing that I did was, late to the party because now you can see Affirm had already dropped down. The first curl looked pretty good and then got stopped out. And then it makes the next curl right here at 48 bucks. So I think that's the way I'm going to try and play it. Like, if it makes another push to the upside, I'll probably just work off of like 49 or something like that. And the other side of that coin, because it's not just I just said now PayPal, but it's not just Affirm, PayPal as well. Which, hey, we love PayPal for the long. We had it all day long. We're able to get the 120s. It couldn't really take out that high of the day, so we got the reload. It couldn't take out the high of the day. It stopped out through that 120 level. There's nothing you can do about that situation, right? Like PayPal was holding up on that breakout pretty much all session long, right? And we love the chart. But guess what? The Apple news drops. And what are you going to do? You're just going to take your stop out in that particular case. You can't fight it. There's not much you can do about it. Like, your levels don't matter when news like this kind of drops midday. So the thesis was holding up and probably needed some help from the market. But ultimately, it gave up the ghost when Apple dropped the hammer down. And that's just what happens every now and then, right? So you've got to make sure you maintain your stops. Once a trade is no longer valid or your reason for being in is gone, then you need to be out of the trade. And that's what we're able to at least do here in PayPal. So we could stay up on the stock. It still ends up one of the better ones because we were taking profit along the way. But it never broke out that high. So the breakout on the daily is pretty much gone. We closed below 120 here, and some of that bullishness has gone away from PayPal, which looks so good today for the break. I did just get Micron at 31s. We'll see how that one goes. And wow, that FRGE. That stock is absolutely insane. But just a note, it's like it was $1.20 something per share for locates on FRGE, which is pretty expensive. Although, like, I checked it when it was at 33, and I'm like, that's too much. And then in the back of my mind, I was like, it might not be that bad if it gets to $50. And of course, it almost gets to $50 here. At this point, it's pretty late in the day. There's been two great pullbacks off that price. So paying for it now is probably a bit ridiculous. It would have to do something like get to break 50, get to 60 or 70, and then you'd want to pay for the shorts. Otherwise, maybe finding some longs, although it's hard to do that up here, would be the name of the game. Sometimes the locates are just a bit pricey, and you can't really make it work.
Look, I mean, Apple could sneeze and just buy PayPal straight cash if they wanted to, but that's not going to happen. Apple's going to do all this stuff in-house, and I talked about, I'm not going to go over levels of Apple or any of these stocks, to be honest with you. It is what it is when this happens. PayPal coming to the bottom here. The reason why PayPal fell in the first place, in my opinion, was just that Apple, and this is just funny that this story's coming out now, but is that Apple just making everything way too easy to use their platform. And I think that's really the story, to believe it or not. It's like you open up even Google now. Like, I open it up, and instead of hitting PayPal, I could just hit Gmail Pay or GPay. It's linked to my credit card, and then that's that. Over. Finished. And I don't even think about using PayPal. So I don't know. I feel like money transfer is just too easy to do right now. There's a lot of people transferring over with crypto and everything. So I don't know. I just feel like PayPal, this move probably makes sense. They went from $360 billion valuation up here where they were, and now you're going to find out that they've been chopped down, basically down to a third, right? And so 300, I don't know what the valuation was, 300 billion, 360 billion, something like that, up there at the upside, and now you're chopped right down into a third. So I feel like their business may be over with. I still own some PayPal shares. I don't want to get out of it because the valuation is so bad right now, but I don't know. That's not a great sign for us shareholders in PYPL. Every time Apple comes at something, it just seems to be a success story for them and not for anybody else. So we'll wait to see what happens with PayPal. But I like Square as well. I mean, I don't like Square, but this is another name that's been battling from the bottom, and it's Block, of course. But this had a bottom of what, 100 or something? So you're up, 100. Check $85 down there as a bottom. So you're up now on this name, like almost what? Almost clean 50% or more than that from these bottoms, right? So just be very, very careful with what you're trading here. And I think I don't like these names, especially when a guy like PayPal is coming through and talking about them. So I don't like it. I don't like the business model anymore, and I'd rather just buy Apple than any of these companies.
All right, CFEI, a few people mentioning getting a Rogan bump here, guys. I quote, he just said apparently on his podcast, "I will quit if it gets to a point that I can't do it anymore, where I have to do it in some sort of weird way where I walk on eggshells and mind my P's and Q's. F that." That's Joe Rogan. So Spotify to the downside on that. CFVI just popped up. It's not a huge move, but worth a note here for Rumble.
I think it's because I just got in at 12, and I think it's because it's not that big of a move that there's maybe some potential on CFA, because it's had this I mean, look, CFVI's had a really nice base to it. Like it's not really gone anywhere from that base when everything else in the market is running. But you've seen it like at $11, pop, 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 and lately like $11.50. And this is just a daily chart, right? So it's had some trouble. These wicks through the 12 even. If this is going to get it to like the 50 period, that's 12.5. Like that's a trade I'm sort of willing to look at here. And we get to 12s. You got to be able to maybe take some back into 11.50. And if it does want to break out, we've seen runner after runner in the afternoon. And Mullen would be an example of that. And maybe they stand to win from this. So, you know, I'll take a shot at CFVI here. Sometimes you get that pullback in the snap news and it's not going to work out. But the way we've seen these afternoons run and just where the base is on the stock, it does set up pretty decently as far as I'm concerned. Speaking of PayPal, it's right at the low of the day. Double bottom on PayPal with the ES at a double bottom this afternoon.
We just took Micron right here. What's the next one? GME. Okay, so just at 25, like we said, it did rip up to 50, and I didn't do anything about it. That's a little silly. My risk to reward here is 1-to-1. You know, we're going to get out if it breaks through 80, so we should take a piece here next time it comes up to 50. I'm actually waiting now in the high 30s. You're going to see me get filled soon. Hopefully, we get filled around that 38 mark. To be exact, and we'll take a little piece out and then we'll put another one upside near that 50 if it does come through. So that's just a little bit of an update. We did get that Micron trade, and then we'll take a piece out here just to like make some profit, hopefully, and take about 12 cents, and then we'll wait to see if it can take out, you know, some of these higher levels here. So right now it doesn't even want to go. If the market does rip back up to the upside, then hey, I think this is a work in progress. And then Rivian just made a new low, and we're going to get to this about frustrating stocks. I have this one in Facebook, so we'll find out. Like I had no idea what happened on this Rivian move. We shorted it, we got out, we're holding a small little piece as it like tries to make lows again here. But Rivian right now $3 in the money. I like it, but definitely not a positive stock for me. And I wanted to talk about that in our next couple segments.
Yeah, let's move along. There was a spike in Spotify, but it's right back up. So, I mean, Joe Rogan says a lot of things. Let's talk, GME. I mean, it was trying to lead at one point during Trader Pratt and Miss V show. We got back above 180 on the way to the upside. But, yeah, I guess they threw the towel in on that rally.
Oh, there was a wick off top, like right there at about, like at 1 o'clock or so. Oh, I know where I was. I was talking to some of the new trainees when it made that wick off top there through 180, but I think that's probably the trade that you would have wanted to be taking here, unless you're testing a 170 support. We went over this for the trade of the day, what happened in the morning, and it's the same sort of thing. Like we had that double top, just a huge reversal off of 200, which ended up being a double top with the aftermarket, and then today is like lower high day, right? So that's what happens, and it cannot get through that high, that 180 level. Now you're testing the bottom, but lots of things are testing that low. 170 has been support. I think I'm likely to short a pop if I get a chance. The first thing will be right where we were at that open, 77, 78, and then think about that 180 level. But you know, GameStop, AMC, it's been a kind of sell-off day. In the meme names, there's been some attempts to get to the upside. They just haven't been able to follow through.
Yeah, I don't have anything on GME today, but I was able to get you know, some decent trading opportunities here on AMC earlier, where we had this big long through here. We took a long down here through 28.17 and another long in that 28.44 pop, which absolutely rocketed it up. We learned our lesson here early, and you guys know that from Ape Nation, where we started to go short. We made some decent calls on the short, but ultimately it blew it up to the upside and kept going. And now, of course, you're seeing, you know, where the short was and then where the stock is now as we continue to be lower. So I think it was like a decent call off some of those shorts, but not at the time. And then it blew up to the upside, and now you're just seeing it just trail all the way back down, man. So we'll do some more work on this in the next hour or so as we look to trade some of this in the afternoon. But for right now, making some bottoms. If you're going to go long on anything, I think we need to get at least above here, try to take out this 27 again, and then maybe head back to VWAP 2780. But hey, no surprise that AMC's slowing down a bit today, up or down that 10% after the monstrous run it's had. So maybe this is just a cool down day. Doesn't mean they can't get going again. So we're definitely going to be watching AMC here this afternoon. But Miss V's got something for you.
Hey guys, welcome everyone to the closing session, and I want to announce that we need just 12,000 more subscribers to become 300,000 subscribers, Trader TV Live community. So please, if for any reason you're not a subscriber or maybe watching us for the first time, hit the subscribe button right now, and you will also receive notifications when we have new content. Besides that, make sure you like this video, as we have almost 3,000 people watching and only 300 likes, guys.
All right, yeah, definitely, guys. Help us get to 300,000, won't you? Share the video, tell your friends, tell your neighbors. Come and join us every single day. We do this all day, every day that the market is open. Every day, we also like to kind of revisit some trades that maybe didn't go the way we thought they would or as planned, and we're a little bit frustrating, guys. Let's talk about frustrating stocks.
Lululemon for me. So 2 or 3 days in a row, I think I've said something along the lines of, do not sleep on these earnings names, because the trades are there. The moves have been there. It's been a great earnings season. If you're looking for something to trade, just find something that is gapping off of earnings. And Lululemon was on the list. Micron gave opportunities, tons of opportunities on Micron. They reported. Lululemon was in that bucket as well. I mean, you could have looked at Chewy, which was moving around. It was just so much. Restoration Hardware was another big one. We could have used that as a frustrating name because it just went straight down. But Lulu on the daily, I mean, it's the level that this 355, when you look at this on the daily chart, like it breaks down in the beginning of the year, immediate resistance at 355, then tries to get through in February, and then you're running into and through that level at 355 in the post market. So the setup comes in, you get the double top at that same level, even the day before. Like it's ridiculous. It was even the high of the day before, going into those earnings. So given the fact that a lot of times we like to buy the dip, especially when something is gapping up, all I thought about was I want to go long in front of that previous high in the daily. Resistance turns into support, let it dip into the open, and then rip. Now, in that situation, a lot of times you'll just, things are going crazy. I was trading Gamestop at the time, right? So that's what you're focused on. It's going to happen. But I'm on the bid at 357 thinking, okay, that's a couple of bucks away. If I get picked up, all good, only to see it bounce at 358. And the truth of the matter is, if you're looking for that type of a dip buy, and we know this, I know better than that, you got to be on that stock, right? Like sometimes you get lucky and you do get that price. It hits you and you're like, oh, great, I got the fill. That's fantastic. There's two ways that you can handle that. One is either just be staring and focusing on that one name. It comes into your target price area. $3 is definitely close enough on a $360 stock. Or you can set yourself an alert, maybe like $1 or $2 away from where you want it. And that way the alert picks up, you flip to the stock, and then you can quickly try to capture the trade. Neither of which did I obviously do. And then was there anything that was, it's instantly in the money, like $5 or $6 within a few minutes, and then you don't even look back from there. That's the kind of trade, like once you get that fill, you know where your out was at that previous resistance turning into support. It breaks it, you're just going to take the trade out, and it never threatens you. And those are the kind of trades you just sit on, and then your biggest worry is managing it later on.
Yeah, we've talked about that, like you said, frustrating the last couple of days with different opportunities, being in those earnings names. I mean, including Micron today, where, we thought definitely that was going to hold some of those levels. Look, mine was just as we ended the show, to be honest with you. You guys saw me battling with Facebook the whole way up. Boom, 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 boom. Like, these are all shorts. Basically as the market was going down, all of these shorts came through, right? I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And eventually we get out there for a decent loss. But good news, man. Some stories actually end with good news. And then this one, we put the short on. We actually tried to get more shares up here. And I'm going to do a little bit of work here, because if I zoom back out a little bit here, look at this top, and this is what I was showing Fahad here today as well as Lucas, is that like why I didn't wait. Like, why am I just going, I mean, I know why, it's because of this high right here, but that high yesterday, we could have waited and been a little more patient with this trade, but we weren't. And eventually we were like, forget about it. We take this in. Last straw, I guess, was going to be this 231. That didn't hit. And then look what happens. It just tanks right back down in. And and this is where it's just cash, 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 cash all the way. So like we go short from 231 to getting it out at 228, sorry. So that's like a $3 winner there on that last piece, but it doesn't really matter, and that's kind of what I'm getting at, is that we did, lose too much money on the way up, and then it came right back in. So it's kind of like frustrating because you think about it, like if I just held and I didn't, wasn't too responsible and held this and just averaged in all the way, if it does break this, then I'm toast, right? It's gone. I'd rather get out there at 230 flat rather than 231, save yourself $1. But you can see it just trickles all the way back down, comes into the point where, it retests some of those day bottoms. So we did have Facebook. We basically had it dead to rights. It does redo this again here. I didn't even notice. I'm not in position. I didn't even notice that move back up. But look at that, another test. So 1, 2, 3, 4 tests on the high side. Let's look for a break the next time. But that's my frustrating stock, and I think it's pretty obvious why.
Let's talk morning preparation, guys. Getting ready for the trading session is the most important time of the day. We're going to talk specifically today about what happens overnight, because just because equities are closed in the U.S. doesn't mean there isn't trading somewhere. So let's ask the question, how much attention should we be paying to what happens in Asia, to what happens in Europe, and to what happens to the futures markets during the overnight session when we get ready for the day?
Yeah, and this is sort of one of those things. And you said, we talk about the overnight markets. There is one other thing that you should consider, and it's a very special case, because certainly you're talking about market sentiment when you come to Europe, when you come to Asia, but there is one other thing that we should always consider, and that is post-market trading. When you're in earnings season, the only other thing that you should be considering is, okay, well, what actually had trades after the market? Your job isn't done at 4 o'clock. And what you can do is then look at what that price action was and try to take advantage of it. And when you do your morning prep, one of the things you should consider is what was moving overnight. Was it moving because it was trading Asia, or was it simply moving because they had an earnings print? That's the reason I wanted to come to Lulu, and it's a prescient trade, because if you look at it, I had a thesis myself for the stock, and the better one was simply looking at what it did in the post-market. And the key thing about this, I just want to show a daily chart. When they reported earnings, this is something that started trading after market in a range that it had not seen this year. So you were trading somewhere after 4 o'clock where it had not been. So it was in new territory, and suddenly you can start to care about what these levels might turn out to be. And when it made its rip on a monster earnings beat up $25, it pulls back into a 360 level. Now, I was looking for a trade-off of 355, and realistically at the open, it pulled back into the aftermarket support. So when it entered a new price range, it was the trading and the buyers at that level, which gave you an indication, hey, somebody likes it when it pulls back there post earnings, and you only have that if you're watching what happened after the market closed. If you just pulled up the daily chart, like I was just showing you, you're looking at this level here on the daily and saying, okay, that's 355. I'm buying in front of that dip. If you're looking at the post-market action after 4 o'clock, you're saying, oh, it turned at 360. They like to buy there. That's where you want to take the long, and the rest was history once you looked at this. So you do want, the market may close at 4 o'clock, but that doesn't mean that there's nothing for you to learn from at that particular time. Earnings is that low-hanging fruit. I like this example because it just happened to me the day we're looking at this.
Okay, great. Yeah, I mean, those are good examples. I'm going to go over another one here, and that what Brendan was talking about was why not look at some of those Asian markets, right? I mean, I have the Nikkei here. It was similar on everything, the Hang Seng, everything. I tend to not look too much at Europe because remember, I mean, the European markets, although similar to us here, I like to trade more NASDAQ names. In Europe, tech is big, but not as big. That's why I'll look over here at some of the Nikkei or the Hang Seng, stocks like the Nintendos, the Tencents, different things like that. A lot of different technology names, but you can look both ways. I mean, look at this rally here, and this is, again, the Nikkei. So you can see here, if I highlight down here, this is the 14th. So March 14th, we start to make some bottoms here. Big move down, and then March 14th is kind of when we started to go upside here. Not kind of, it is when. And you can see that's March 14th is this one offsetting green candle down there. Maybe it's a little bit hard to see. There it is right there. So that's March 14th, right? And if we look now over at Us here, this is the NASDAQ. This is the 15th. So the very next day, obviously, when we open back up here, look what happens to the NASDAQ. So very, very similar. Markets closed down the day before. Markets up in Japan, and then boom, right back up there to the upside. A lot of that had to do with Chinese listing companies, and that's another point, Brendan. Sometimes the news, you don't want to sleep on the fact that there's a lot of ADRs also trading here on the pink sheets, trading also in our markets, and not an ADR, but an official listing like a BABA or a JD, something like that, that's also traded on the New York NASDAQ. If you get those bumps with positive news over there in Asia, it will transfer forward over. But let's not sleep on the fact that, hey, the NASDAQ is its own beast. Apple only trades in one market. And when that market opens up, it's all hands on deck for the NASDAQ and the S&P. So for me, I like to look at what Japan does and China and some of those European markets, but I don't put a full amount of credibility in my ideas. But we definitely look at them when we're making our watch list and the sticky note.
From a broad perspective, definitely the first stop you should make, but keep it broad. Understand that, especially in this very headline-driven environment, there's going to be other effects, other things affecting the overall sentiment of the market. But a great place to start, guys. Start in Asia, start in Europe, start with the futures and understand where we came from and then where we could go throughout the day. FRGE just popped back up here again. The recently de-SPAC'd SPAC, Forge Global surges after retail interest. So this thing was number 3 on StockTwits today. That was what I was getting at. Anyways, back to day highs there on a volume spike, guys, for FRGE.
So I actually just put this in the chat that and John Appleseed asked me what it meant, and I said that the locate cost got cut in half. So on Forge. FRGE, because when I checked it back when it was at $33 and even again at 43 up here, it was over $1.12 per share to be able to short the stock. It was not easy to borrow, to be able to get locates, borrow the stock, sell them into the market, then you got to buy them back. But when it made this third test at the high of the day, I went to double check again, and that actually got cut in half. So it's now just under 60 cents per share, which is obviously a lot more reasonable. The price coming down like that, and it's a triple top here at 44. You can see I'm actually trying to get some shares at 43 here to the short side, give it to the top, and then see if you can work that range. And it's just about the risk scenario there. In that situation, before you get into a trade, you're either, if you pay earlier, you're out $1.12, and that cost comes down. If you use the trade 3 times, then okay, fine, it's like 37 cents per trade. But you're at $1.12 before you've even hit a key. Now it's about 60 pennies, which is a little bit more reasonable up here. And yeah, it got to 45, up 100%. Looks like it's trying to break out several times, but wick off tops 3 times through the high of the day. And that's what I'm looking at. 45 is a nice little round number. Those asked the Micron stop. 79.50 was the 200 period. That's what I looked at this morning. I waited all afternoon, and now it's going to come in. With the market still trying to hold up, we do have 15,000 on the NASDAQ, which is still in play as I just got into FRG. Now remember, when you're trading something like this, if you are not willing to stop out at the high and potentially make the top wick, you probably shouldn't make the trade anyways, because holding it through, if it breaks this high of the day short, you can be staring at 50 in the face, which is not all that reasonable a thing to do, in my opinion. But hey, other people do whatever they want to do. Me, I'm going to have a stop at the top.
Yeah, you mentioned Micron. I was in that trade as well. We got out there on that 80 break right here. Yeah, it's just going to the downside. I don't know, like Neil said. And this is the thing about our show, right, is that Neil and I will have, often looking at the same names, obviously, because, what's moving is moving, but little different ideas. And I like that 79.50. I actually didn't identify it, Neil, but it might hit. So watch out.
About to stop at 80.
Yeah, make sure you got that stop order going here. As we're getting to the downside, there's really no love for Micron today. I was completely wrong. I thought this was going to be a big trade for me today, but fortunately, we're only down, we are down on the stock. And again, I don't have a problem telling everybody the nets, if I'm positive or negative on a name. This is not a positive name for me. We hit it pretty good early, there's no doubt. But then on the way, this was a good trade too. But right here, we just lost on it. And that put us negative. We were long at 30s or 28s. We got out at 98 there. So as it comes back, breaking back down, that did tick us into the red. So Micron today, a red name. And we were just flat on on it, basically, after all of this. So yeah, no surprise here for me that this is continuing to go down. As soon as we broke some of those key levels that I liked, that I talked about earlier with 82, 83, as soon as that started coming in, it was like, okay, see you later, man. And then the downside just kept on pouring in here on Micron. And then, I mean, even if you look at some of those other chip names, like AMD is getting destroyed as well. I mean, they're all getting killed. I don't want to say killed today because it's just a little extended past the market. So, but again, as these names go, and this is another part of it too. It's like we talk about like not crying over spilt milk and things like that. Honestly, if these stocks are going to lead the way on the way up, like they've been doing, it's very, very hard for me to sit here and then complain about these stocks. I mean, I'm pretty good at complaining, ask my wife, but it's just like when it comes all the way back up to the upside there, and you're like, yeah, I'm in the money, 20%, 30%. When the market does fade back in, you are going to get corrections on some of these monster moves, right? And so, I don't know. I'm waiting for it. I've been buying the SMH because honestly, I'm not smart enough to figure out which ones I like because I'm already into AMD and do NVIDIA. So I'm picking my poison with SMH. And I actually just went positive on my last couple buys here. I think SMH is, I thought it was AM there. I had it on NQ and switched it. My average price is $274 on SMH. So I have been buying on the way down. We did do some buying. This is not the daily chart. We did do some buying in here. The first time it came into this area of 280 and change, then we're able to buy something down here around 250. So I think it's 274. So just went green today on the SMH. So I don't know, man, another 2.5% down. I like the semis. I think metaverse, I think all that makes a lot of sense that people are going to need to buy higher quality chips. We talked about foundry deals with Intel and NVIDIA. So I don't know. I like it. I mean, what we haven't talked about in a while was what about GFS here? Global Foundries.
Right.
I'm going to say it's New York, although no, it's
right?
NASDAQ. Yeah, I don't know.
I know.
68. I don't think this has fallen that much, has it? Global
it went
Foundries.
To 75.
It did go to it was at 80 actually.
It went to 80.
Yeah, and then it came right back into 67 and change. So yeah, a recent name here, Global Foundry, up beautifully from its IPO, man. I mean, its IPO was 45. Or something like that, according to this chart, anyways. And then it went all the way to 80. So an IPO that's actually working, GFS.
Yeah, well, sometimes you get the timing right. I'm only saying that because remember the day it went to 75, a couple of days trading, and like after like the second or third, I was like, oh, I should take some off. When you're selling on the way up, it just never, you never want to do it at fresh highs. But when it's like a double or triple top, I really don't mind it. CFVI pulled back in. It's turned into a scalp trade, so I guess that's what we're going to do with it. I thought we were going to get a real breakout. Instead, we're just sort of sitting here in front of that previous high of the day, 1180. I just got some at 90s, took some out at 12s. I'll have some at 1208 on the offer, and then we'll be up in front of 1225. I do want to have something on board. Like no matter what, as long as we don't break down past these lows, I do want to hold out something just in case we get a secondary push. And as you said it there, I'm not on the face slap page. There it is. There goes Micron. So it breaks through that 79.50. It could bounce from here, but even if it does, whatever. That was the level we like. We like that 200 period, and if it doesn't want to hold that on a good earnings report, then I guess it's not going to happen for Micron today. The market, by the way, did just break down, although 15,000 still holding for the NASDAQ. We did just break the lows.
Yeah. Why am I still on GFS? So here's another stock today for us, Rivian. Rivian is an absolute monster, man, and the main problem with Rivian is, and there's lots of problems, but one of the main ones was it took out levels that we didn't think it would, right? We were coming back into here today, and whoops, where did we go here? I don't know why my chart's not going to load properly. Hold on a second. Yeah, it's still. Anyways, it took out this 55 area that we really, really liked as a short, and when that happened, man, remember I was telling you about I switched all my cancel keys? Well, not a good day to do that because I had stop orders in here that got canceled, and then I had to re-put this one in at 55.57. We actually wanted to get out of this, but it doesn't matter. Either way, it cost me 50 more cents. Not the end of the world. But ripped all the way to the upside here and just took off. Automatic volume. And I don't know if there was any news. We had our guest on at that point. I was searching Twitter for it. And I don't know, maybe if Brendan can check. I don't think there was anything on Rivian. I mean, I still haven't been able to find anything. It happened around 10:45. The volume picked up like mad there. And we were just short all the way into our levels. Because again, like this is why we do the due diligence with the sticky note. It's on here to short Rivian through $55. And unfortunately, it goes all the way to 57. But and again, it's going to be a negative name, and this is why I was, again, another one on that frustrating level, is because it went all the way up, we reloaded the short there, and then it came right back in, and we were like, okay, Merry Christmas, man. Like, we were down too much money to even discuss. And then when it came back in, I was like, take it, take it, take it, take it. Like, almost like, I'll just like patch up this wound as much as we can. And then all of a sudden, man, it did exactly its Rivian style and came all the way back down. Remember, if you're a company that's not making money, and I feel like my Palantir the same way, this is still not a good environment for you. And Rivian is not producing vehicles right. I mean, they are, but I think they guided lower on their production targets as well. So Rivian, not the darling that we think it is right now. And I also thought that Rivian went too far too fast over the last couple of days. I mean, can you believe this, Neil? Rivian touched $33 at one point after being, Rivian was at 180, guys. Rivian was at 180 in November 16th. It touched $33 on March 15th. So what a move back up, almost a double. I know that's bad math, but almost a double back up to $57. So, like, I don't know. I think it's a short until I'm going to be wrong. And today, Rivian almost proved me wrong, where we didn't almost get shut down, but it would have been fun to see what happens if that would have broke through 57, because I feel like next stop might have been 60, and then I was dead. So right now, Rivian back down. We're $3 in the money. Let's see if we can get to 52.50. Mr. Wickens.
Nothing major, guys, but just wanted to mention there was this note from RBC, an RBC analyst specifically saying that some of the current levels for Rivian are, in their words, attractive entry points for long-term holders. So, I mean, there was that. There wasn't anything else too major, though, as far as Rivian is concerned.
Well, poo-poo to you. I'm only saying that because the one thing about that move that I can tell you, when we've been trading a long time, and both of us were like, what the hell was that? And it was working off of this. That 54 level, you remember in the afternoon show when it broke 54 on the imbalance and immediately rejected 55? Like, you'd better believe, of course we were going to short that. And so it goes up there. And when it came the second time, I got this curl. I'm like, oh, it tests a high, it rolls over, it consolidates, I get into position, and then in like 1 minute, not only am I stopped out, I'm watching like the offer essentially evaporate. It was just gone. There was nobody on the offer of the stock. I'm like, why did this just happen? I know it broke out a little bit, but it still had 55 in front of it when it was doing that. It made no sense. Like, a lot of times you'd see, okay, it'd be size on the way. No, it was just like bang, 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 it was gone. And even when it finally took the top, this short up here, and I know you had it too, Sean, when it shorted up here, your real point of liquidity was 56.25. The high was 56.75. And yet the quarters was where you could actually get the short position. It was air. There was so much air in there. Now, it had gone too far, so everyone's going to want to try to put on a trade like that. And when it works, it looks fantastic. But you were losing a good 50 cents on that, and it was so fast. It was sort of hard to digest. It's one of those things that, like, even if you're not trading it and you were just watching it, like, getting to watch a level 2 or getting to watch a stock do that is a valuable experience, because you don't see it very often, a true liquidity vacuum. That FRGE, by the way, a fourth attempt at breaking through the high. I just got some out at 41. I'll try to take some out at 39. I'm looking to see if it can break down and get back into the 32, 33 range. And it might seem arbitrary at 33, but that's where the biggest consolidation and volume point was on the break. That'd be the final out. I expect there to be a bid down there.
I'm fixing my mic here because, nothing. I don't know. For some reason, it's like it's closer to my chest here. I don't know. We got these new mics because pretty soon Ms. V and Trader Prad will be beside us. We're waiting for the cameras and everything to get out of here, and then it's going to be more talk. So these are like higher quality right now. So hopefully you guys can tell that. And, if, you like everything that's going on, thank you so much for continuing to support us here on tradertv.live. Okay, I'm not doing very good to support my own pocketbooks here, because I thought, and here we're going to get stopped out here, I did a little bit of again, not a revenge trade at all. I thought maybe you got taken out here at that bottom of Micron.
I'm out.
Yeah, I know. But I was thinking, like, okay, maybe it retraces back up, because the future, we're going to get stopped out in a second here on the day's low. But the futures bumped there, and I was like, okay, if we do take, look, every time the futures, there we go, we're stopped out, we're out now. That was only a 10-cent hit there. No, 25-cent hit on Micron. But I thought the futures might try to bump there, and they didn't. And if they did, then I did want to be involved with Micron. But there it is again. We'll go downside on that name. Forget it. Actually, that looks almost exactly like the chart there of Micron. So, yeah, all the way to the downside there. This is just like, wow, talk about, thinking this was a good report. And this is what we talk about, and I know Trader Brad talks about this all the time, and it's like, why are we going to sit here and try to predict exactly where these stocks are going to go off earnings? I think we were pretty hot fire early on when we picked up some of these bottoms and it ripped back up, but I don't know, how do I get away from that? It was strong early, we liked it, but then as the market started falling, it actually just started ramping up to the downside to where now Neil tried, what was that level, the 200 period?
It was a 200 period.
Yeah, like it's not even going to hold that. So, we're gone out of that name right now. But the one name that unfortunately will hit the sirens on this one, and I feel bad. I don't feel bad. I own SoFi shares as well, but here we go, man. I wish, and I mean, where's that crystal ball that we had there? Yeah, the size was, I think, about 300,000 shares or something. I knew, not that I knew it was fake, but you could see layers, ordered layers in front of that. So I kind of felt like if it was going to break, then it was going to just tank. And unfortunately, it didn't break until a little bit later. But you see there's the big move down. So we started the short, and then boom, it broke. And we were short at 35s, 30s here. It broke down. We started getting out at these levels. And this is the thing. Like, I'm embarrassed that we don't have more shares here, but we're still short, which is a good thing for SoFi. But look, here's where the size was, right? 24, 25. So we're short here, 30s, short again, 33s. That's what the price we have on right now. And then what happened was, as the market started coming in, we got our best outs at 16s. So that's like a 16-cent win. So that's where we started to get out. So we held again. And as it came back in, we started to get the majority out again at these levels, thinking that maybe 10 wouldn't hold. But then, of course, when it came down to 10, it said, hold my beer for like 2 or 3 minutes here. And then it just collapsed back down to 970. And honestly, man, this is a 63-cent winner on this name. That's big. Like, this is a decent sized movement, about a 6% move down, and we have it. So we don't have many shares on this name, but we have our 10% again. So whatever. I mean, that's par for the course for me. But there goes SoFi all the way to the downside. And honestly, I don't have any targets. The NASDAQ is just coming to the downside. You think like down 1% is nothing. We can get a hell of a lot lower than this. So we're going to hold SoFi. If you did want an out and you're short with me, look at it, just follow the 50 period all the way down. So I'm thinking that, a break of that would make some sense. And that's not going to happen till about 980 or so. So we'll wait till 980 if we're going to get out of anything on SoFi. But hey, man, that for me is just a monster all the way to the downside. We're pretty happy with it. And guess what else is accelerating? I know you're on that Forge, but look at Rivian. Just getting crushed. Yeah. 52 and change. How is this my worst stock today when these are all my trades? Like, I really need to do a better job. I need to read some books or something. Like, this is just all the way. Like, 21 years of experience isn't enough. Boom, 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 boom. And then this happened. Whatever, man. I thought there was some sort of a news story there, and we got out of the way. So hence my frustration.
But
as
that's
Rivian,
what your instinct tells you.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like I said, like you see, essentially when that kind of a vacuum happens, it basically means the algo stopped market making, which typically means something big has happened. I think it was obviously some kind of a liquidity squeeze, but for whatever reason, whoever was making the market on the offer.
Oh, it's because Tony's not here. He's making the market on Rivian.
Of course, yeah.
That makes
it's
sense.
Tony the Tiger's not
that
in.
makes sense. That makes sense.
But look, I was with you, man.
Tony Electric is his
We were
new name.
looking at Twitter. We're like on Twitter. We're like, Brandon, what's going on? What is happening? But the market is crashing down. Someone just put in the chat, would you go long NVIDIA at 75? 75 is a nice round number, and the trades aren't showing up from last week. But if you were watching last week, and I guess again on Monday as well, but the 72 level, that's where the support's been on NVIDIA. And it's much like Micron. If you're going to bottom pick, it better be somewhere where buyers have stepped up and shown you that there's a willingness. And we've seen this level. And it's not just that it gets to there and finds support. It's that it has significant bounces away, right? Like you see, when it made a double top, it recovered halfway. The next day, when it failed at the high of the day, it then made a V-shaped recovery off of 27 and then ended up breaking out to that recent high. So that's about the only defensible level I would look at for NVIDIA. If anything, I'm kind of kicking myself for not just trying a 280 short. because it just came back into 280, and I'm sitting there, and don't get me wrong, I'm sitting here actually watching FRGE. Like,
Wait a second.
that's the opportunity cost, and it's still not on the NASDAQ, Neil. It's 4 letters. I typed NQ just instinctively. It looks extreme, but to me, it either breaks this 37 and gets down to 33, or when it levels off at 37, I just get out of it. But I want to give it some room because it just went $25 to the upside, right? If it does capitulate, you could always get a much bigger flush. And speaking of the market coming down, CFVI is not going to hold up, not in this environment.
We're doing fine today, but like I just looked at Micron and I thought I had the wrong handle on Micron.
It's already through.
It's at 78 now. Like, I can't believe this name as it just continues to pour down here. It's
going to have a single-digit P by the end of the day at this point.
I think it maybe already does, yeah. Like, this is just like crazy time. Really, the trade should have been, instead of trying to defend 80, it should have been the punch short there, and then we'd be laughing literally all the way to the bank. But for right now, I can't go long as Micron just continues to go down. It may not even be done here, man. Like, I don't know. Let's try to find something. There's that 200 period that Neil was talking about. There's going to be nothing here on a daily chart, but I don't know. If someone can tell me maybe why. Oh, I want to say shout out to Dinesh there, because as we were talking about, you know, my mistake on Rivian, and I think you were talking about something as well, maybe CFVI, maybe it was, or whatever it was. Yeah, you have to have humility a little bit in this. And I know, like, you know, those of you watching me, like, you don't think that maybe I do, but at the same time, it's like, you know, you can be wrong on your trades, and it's not just your opinion is the right one as you sit here and trade. I mean, I've had strong conviction on a lot of trades, and it just didn't work out. I mean, even like that Facebook trade. But again, you know, that's what you have to be. You have to sort of be real with yourself, and then hopefully it all pays off in the end. Look at Mullen here. Again, you know, I don't normally trade runners like this, but when that came in and built a base there, you know, we did make money initially, but it's really the second take here that's turning out to be the right one for me. So Mullen right now on its way back to the upside. It just did touch that 315. Look, I don't have a full position on, or else I'd just be cashing out right now. I'm just thinking, like, why not hold this to see if we get that 315 break? We talked about the reasons why we thought there was potential behind this name, so I continue to think that there is a potential here. So let's watch and see what Mullen does now. Who knows who that buyer is or what's going to come through. There could be more news coming on Mullen. The CEO obviously started yapping about that, so I don't know. Let's just see. The volume still stayed pretty high. We'll see about Mullen now trying to go to the high side. That's, you know, my opinion on that trade. What else do you guys want us to look at?
I'm watching NEO because it's like, was there anything stronger? I know Rivian made a huge move, and we talked about that, but NEO from the open was probably the strongest of the EV names. And I'm saying to myself, okay, well, what's something that was strong that's maybe at a shortable level, because I hadn't checked it since lunchtime?
Look at Rivian.
It's already back down at 22. It's given everything back. Like, this is insane. But this is, I just want to quickly point this out, because in the chat, we have a great community reminding that if you track volatility, I look at UVXY because that's what's easiest in our system, or the VIX, but you just broke out through the weekly top and hadn't really shown any signs of turning. This is kind of the first leg. It's a 5-minute, by the way. I kind of just watch it on the 5, but this is a 5-minute, and it's starting to only pull back just now after breaking out the last couple of days. So that's the kind of thing that you should, when we start extending in the market, and you break lows, or you get a monster reversal, and suddenly the range is much bigger than you anticipated, go have a look at the VIX. And if you want to buy the low in a situation like that, kind of make sure that maybe you're at least leveling off or getting a bit of a retracement. That can be your sign for an entry point. Or if you're riding short, maybe that can be the reason to get out. As I said with FRGE, while I do think there's a lot of room to get down to that 33 if it truly capitulates, it's FRGE, Neil. Can't even get the symbol right when I get the ticker. Anyways, but this 37 is that first test. So if it gets through here, I think there's a good chance we get down to 33, but I gotta watch it like a hawk. There was a bid in front of 40. There's right now just about nothing, like 100 shares all down the line on the level 2. There's just no support on this stock whatsoever. This is still on NEO because I was watching that. But this is sort of what I mean. Like, there's nothing really standing in front of it. You can really just look at your chart to try to pick out where it might turn around, whether it was buy support before. When it was above 41, 42, there were actual bids, 40s, in front of 40 even. There were actual bids in front of 41. Right now, you're sort of looking at a bit of a liquidity vacuum, pretty much what it looked like on the way up.
Trying to find something to short. We're $4, and I was just saying, wow, on the chat there, $4 in the money now on Rivian, and we got to think about trying to get out somewhere. So I don't know, nice little spike up here. I like the market's still going down, so I don't think it's prudent to get out of any of these shorts, considering I don't have anything else right now. I wanted to look at Apple shorts because you are right, and again like I talk about like not shorting Apple, and here I am about ready to do it. So I don't know. We'll see if it's going to come through here. Oh man, I can't. I got to fix this wick here on that. Oh, that sucks. But Apple right now looking to take out. Hold on a second, guys. Bear with me. This is how you trade to get them out. That's 120. So I got to go into here, find 120 on here. Just bear with me. I'm going to get this in a second. It wasn't 158.60. It was probably 178.60. So we'll adjust that, and then there we go. Now we'll have a much better Apple chart. Look at this. Trying to take down those lows. I think this is a break to the downside right now. 174.40. Let's go short Apple and see if we can win on this, especially if this market continues. Apple has a great opportunity to get to the downside with only like 40 cents worth of risk. I'm going to short Apple here. I don't normally do this, but hey, man, the market doesn't look too healthy. We do have imbalances coming at the end of the day. Let's play momentum here and short Apple to the downside.
There's another, remember Apple's story that relates to all the other fintech names. So remember Affirm? It's right back to that double bottom it had after the big flush. That's at 47.90. It was the best price I got on the first curl, and it's right back to it. So if it can chew through this, to me, it almost has to be short. The market is now broken down and is weaker than it was before. So it's negative news specifically for Affirm, and I guess the rest of the other fintech name. I could have looked at PayPal as well, but I'm watching Affirm. If it gets through 46.90, I'm going to jump back into that short position. I'm very close to putting a trail on FRGE. If it bounces off that 37, 38 area again, I'm just going to go ahead and have to do it because that stock can easily just rocket ship back to the upside and be taking out 45. And at this point, there's no need to have your stop back at the high of the day. We have 50 minutes left for it to work, so you are racing against the clock as well. It's not just about your stop. As a day trader, it is about running against that clock. At 4 o'clock, got to be done anyway, so got to tighten the stop up.
Yeah, and we found an out. So, I mean, I think that this is going to make a lot of sense for me here on and out. If it just takes out, I mean, it's the same thing as always here, guys. I'm going to keep this as simple as we can. If Apple takes out the 50-period moving average, it's been all the way down here. It's trying to trend this way. And bye-bye, Apple. Let's see what's going to happen right now. We just took this short, so here we go. It took down the low of the day. That's exactly what we wanted. So that's hopefully now, a name that I don't normally short, but we trade. I trade, and we all trade, I hope anyways. Price action to the downside, and now we're going to wait to see what happens. We do have the market imbalances coming out, so we'll figure out if that's going. Brendan right now with a message to us that Boeing has seen better days.
Also
right now. I think everything, I mean, whatever, Boeing's still positive, but it makes sense, man. Short the names that have gotten that pop. We are now officially $4 in the money on this Rivian trade as we retest bottoms right now on Rivian. This has been a big trade for me, obviously. You guys should be able to see that. And then right now, our newest name on board is Apple, and that is now 20 cents in the money and starting to make new lows. It's not starting to, is making new lows right now on Apple. And if I go to a 20-minute chart, yeah, I mean, I don't hold much weight to this. It's just going to follow the market. So we'll hold this. And I'm just going to use, like I always do here, even dollars. So I do have an out right now at 177.02. But I'm going to bump that up a little bit. Let's just see if it comes down. We are now 20 cents in the money. We could take a piece out and then hold. I think that's maybe what we'll do. Let's take a piece out and then hold the rest and see if we get that ultimate flush here on Apple. Let's take 20 cents, hold the rest, and see if we get a crazy flush.
And somehow going the other way is Affirm. So if it's not going to break down, it actually might give me a pop to fade into because, look, volatility is going higher, the market is breaking lower, and this is going to give a better entry price. That just feels a little bit crazy to me. So I'm going to see if we can't work into 48 on the short trade in Affirm. It doesn't make any sense that it should be trying to break back out. I think this should be testing low, especially with that news. I'm going to check back in on PayPal as well as I just get the offer in. I still have my stop, so if it breaks through that higher low, I am still going to get into Affirm. But PayPal was enter, was the other. And this is the thing, like PayPal is still breaking down here. It makes no sense that we're low of the day and running lower, and a firm doesn't want to give it up. So we have an out at 48. I'm going to go ahead and take it. It's just a little easier to work that trade than try and get the actual bottom here on PayPal, now down 2%. So if PayPal had been a little bit higher, closer to that 120, maybe we'd be taking it. I just see a firm as a better setup. And if it wants to give me that price, I just put the offer at 45. It just spiked to 40, it looked obviously 44. Didn't give me the fill. I'll just try to take some here in the 30s, and then maybe for a little bit less. And then if I have to get more at 47, 70, I just want to get into this before it makes a turn.
Look, thank you to Thomas right here. I don't know if you guys remember earlier, I said the Qs could probably be down, you know, that 1.5%, 2%. Remember when I said doomsday? And Neil's like, well, doomsday. And I was like, yeah, no, about 1.5% to 2%. So there you go, man. What a complete turnaround on the Qs. Not proud to have called that, but hey, we're holding the shorts. We're making that cash on these shorts. So yeah, I'm pretty happy that it's going to the downside. And there is the win. We talked about that. Hit the siren, man, because hey, there's the cash on. Okay, that didn't happen. But there's the cash on Apple. We took out that 20 cents, and guess what, guys? That's the bottom. We got 20, I mean, right in front of you. We got 21s. Like, come on. Like, now I have to look at that. We are waiting to get shorter. Not this stupid dark candle. We are waiting to get shorter here on Apple. So, you know, if it comes down back up into that, we're going to get out if it takes that 177.80 back up to the upside. So I'm waiting at 60 to get shorter on Apple, not the other way around. And here it comes now, trying to make new lows. It just did. We took that. So a good trade for me on AAPL, obviously there, as you guys can see. So pretty happy with that trade. Let's just move on now. Mullen, I may get out, but again, we're trying to hold this. I feel like if the market bounces up, just joking, it has nothing to do with Mullen in the market, but there we go. We'll see what happens now with Mullen. Maybe it does take that 315. A name that I've liked in all of this, of course, are the chip names, but today it's just they're not doing too well, so I'm not gonna, normally I'd go over now on this little market bump and look at an AMD or look at a Micron, and it's definitely not Micron, I don't know why I said that, but look at a NVIDIA was the name I was looking for, but not today. Look at SoFi. It is, I mean, just to give you guys an update, it's now trying to cross this. Obviously, 75 is there. I'm still going to use 80 as the high. So if it can break through 80, we're 60 cents in the money on SoFi on a small piece off of these shorts. Unfortunately, we got them all out here as we scalped, but we're always trying to hold a little bit. So here it comes back in right now. And I'm doing this sort of psychologically for myself too, because the more I hold it, if they start to win, then I can have more confidence to do this the next time as well. So, I mean, I trade every single day. I have over like 200 fills today. I should have the confidence necessary, but let's go over to Miss V right now and see what's up with her.
Hey guys, I kindly remind you to like this video. We now have 3,400 people watching. So please make sure you smash the like button, make your contribution into the community. Likes are absolutely free for you, but means a lot for us and for development of our YouTube channel. Back to you guys.
All right.
Yeah, thank you.
I was going to say, I'm going to try to go short more SoFi here in front of that level.
Yeah, and thank you for everything you guys do in the community. And Flameboy514, I was about to type this in the chat. No, I want to make sure that you know I'm talking to you because you just put in the chat, is it too low to short FRGE? I understand, look, it's working, and I shorted it. So, but I would say it is too low to short it. I just don't see where the risk reward is. I almost feel like you'd have to have a stop somewhere in the 38. And given what we paid for the locates here, I don't see, like the risk to reward, it can get to 33. I think that's the level that makes a lot of sense to me. But it's just the risk to reward isn't fantastic at that point. And it might work, and I'll be, you know, I'll have said I don't think so. And then if it works out and it gets down there, then I'll look like an ass because you could have made money. But it doesn't make sense to me to be shorting that level, and not with the lack of liquidity, because then you're paying 40 to 50 cents worth of spread. Then you're paying, you know, another 60 to 70 cents for the locate. Then you're having a tight stop at 38, and then you're 1-to-1 at best because I think the reward is down to 33. It's just a lot about that doesn't work. And as a matter of fact, if I see a bid at 35, I'm probably just going to take it. It just bounced off 35, and some buyers just stepped in there. That's a round number. And if everyone else is looking at that 33, where it coiled up, and remember, the biggest volume spikes came right after it took out that level. If the buyers come out in front of it, they might just do it in front of the even number, which is 35. And if that's just happened, that's another reason why shorting it down here doesn't make a lot of sense. It's obvious where you're wrong when you take a shot at the high of the day, and it's a bullish setup. But that's why sometimes you can take that trade, because you don't have to guess at where you're wrong. You know where you have to give it up.
100%, and rate cued perfectly right there for Apple. Like, here it comes. It's now trying to take out 177, and just like Neil said, we've got a plan of action. We know where we're going to be wrong on this. Unfortunately, it just missed our reload to the short side, but here goes Apple. See you later. Trying to break. Yes, sir. There it is. What's up, JJ? Who just said that? If Sean turns green, there it is. JJ Velez there. You're going to see this. Let's go through 174. Let's go riving to the downside. And by the way, bang right there. You got that right now. You might think like, oh, why is he doing a bang? We'll go diamond hands because we did hold some SoFi. And then we'll go bang right there as well, because I just said, had to mention it to Neil there as we went. We reloaded this SoFi trade. And there it is right there on a perfect reload. So, okay. I heard it a little bit. I don't know.
I didn't hear it.
I'm not hearing those sounds anymore. I don't know if they're still playing or not. But there it is. We are reloaded. Let me know if you heard that reload there. But we reloaded SoFi right there at 75. Now it's coming back down. We just took a 67 bid. Down goes SoFi. Let's see how far this one wants to go down now. Will it retest the day's low? Hopefully it's at 65. We're 2 pennies away, and we did reload this one. So SoFi is coming back in now. Good trading on SoFi. And again, not to pick on these names, but when this is happening, and I could go over to Palantir, DraftKings probably. We've seen Rivian, $4. Like, come on, guys, $4 in the money on Rivian right now, and it's like my worst stock today. It's unbelievable. That's happening. But nice moves down here, and there goes Apple as well, trying to test 177. It bounced off of it. Maybe we should have taken that, but let's see what happens with Apple now as we're bouncing around here.
We got these ones too, and I haven't used this in a while, but yeah, falling through a hole. That's what's essentially happening to the overall market. I decided to not wait for the breakdown in a firm like we showed you guys. If it was going to move up when the market was taking lows, okay, we'll just sort of take the next pop and short the pops. And then I took some out in front of that bottom. If I thought it was good enough for a breakdown trade, then I'm going to take profit in front of it. Oddly enough, when I was a trainee, there was one trader, and I forget his name, but he used to always say, short the pops. When it was a weak market trending to the downside, he would just yell it out loud to remind himself that that's what you should do. Play with the trend, and the market is going down. It just means that every single time it would pop up, it was an entry for you. Entry, guys. I'm going to be stopped out in 3 cents on CFVI. Like, news doesn't. Sometimes a catalyst to news doesn't make a darn when the market is this weak. It's just one of those things, and I hope you didn't try that NVIDIA to the long side off 275. Or maybe you did, but you probably just got it if you tried 275. Not a lot of strength I'm seeing anyways, man. Hold on to your shorts. At this point for me, it's a firm looking for the low of the day. That FRGE is it's a bit of a different story because it could follow the market. It probably won't care too much, but it did find a bit of a buyer that stepped in front of 35 even. For now, I'm going to be in front of that level to hope to get picked up because we are starting to run against the clock here. Brendo, what's up, bud?
Just looking at this steel stock, HILS, big rip here, 2 up to 3, and right back down again on decent volume as well. Not seeing anything yet, guys, but this is an iron and steel producer, so heads up on Hills.
That.
Bang. Right now, Apple, there it is, man. We put this on for you. The biggest stock right here in the market. We put on the short. We put on those shorts. Thank God for everybody behind us. We didn't actually do that. But here it comes, now making that move back down to the downside. Oh, yeah, SoFi. Boom! We just get that at the low of the day as well. What a great afternoon. We're reloaded. We are reloaded right there. We can hear that again. And we'll spin this again right now as well, just to annoy everybody that doesn't like it. As there it comes back to the downside right now. We short SoFi, we short Apple. And look, I don't know. Still don't have an out. The market could rip back up, guys. That'd be fantastic for everybody who's long. But like I said, we're trying to trade price action here. And until I get some sort of an update, I know we'll check out Financial Juice and things like that to see what is happening with the imbalances. But I have a feeling they couldn't come negative. And a big shout out to Thomas, because he's recognizing that the People's Trader called this move. I said earlier, I felt like this market was a little heavy. We talked about that when basically when NASDAQ was up here, right? That's what it is. Here it comes to the downside, down that 1.5%. So we're pretty happy with it. So there we go. The shorts are now printing in, man. Rivian 4.25 in the money now, all the way down to the day's low. Just wish we had more shares. Then we'd literally be doing backflips. But right now, hey, we went from chicken to lobster, but we'll just go a chicken dinner winner anyways for everybody, celebrating National Chicken Wing Day.
It's not chicken wing.
I know, I just made that up.
It was,
but
oh God, I already forget what it was.
It was.
Was it the lemon thing?
Oh,
it was
turkey neck soup. Okay, so turkey dinner winner right there as we go. So thank you, Ms. V, for that one as well. But yeah, man, we are very, very excited today. What a big day to trade. And, you know, the market just keeps on puking down here. And there goes, let's go, Apple. Boom right now, Apple right now, the floss is in, and Apple going nuts, we're going nuts, and there it goes to the downside, AAPL.
Yeah, pointed out by Dinesh in a good look here. Remember 15,000 on the NASDAQ? That's pretty much where we're at right now. So the stock I'm looking at as you're at that bottom, because another trader in the chat is pointing out, following the market rather nicely, what's also at a recent low. Look at Square. Rolling over harder than any of the other fintech names. Now that we look at it, right at that 138, as the NASDAQ is bouncing, if you were trying to pick something up and say if you bounce off 15,000 and weren't trading the futures, find something that's at a low like this as we watch that level. Now keep in mind, the ES is sort of screaming down into no man's land and is about 5 or 6 handles away from its support levels. So there is room to run on a lot of names, but Square is one of the more interesting ones, trying to catch a bit of a bottom. 25 minutes till the imbalances come out, but you know the risk to reward on that, not bad. It's about 30 cents worth of risk, and you have 15,000 in front of you guys. So I was looking for something that was finding a consolidation at the same time, and Square is the one. 30 cents worth of risk. It doesn't take much. We have a couple of shorts on already, so we're going to hold on to those. But I want something off the bottom that you can try to get that scalp trade. Nvidia's $3 away. The only thing that was off a corresponding low was Square. Or I should be saying Block, because the name of the company is Block. I should be saying it.
We just did a bang hammer there. See ya, Toner Man, out of here. And look, honestly, I'm like super long. I'm only long. Like all of my accounts are long. I don't even hold any shorts, anything. I don't even hold any puts right now. And but yeah, unfortunately, if you're going to be short right now, then you are probably going to be celebrating. And trust me, like how I'm acting now is part of, you know, the show, and we are excited for you. We're trying to give some entertainment value. Believe me, when we're off the air, it's like I'll just sit here and trade very, very quietly. But we want to celebrate our wins for you, just to show you that it's possible, man. I mean, if you follow some of our simple, not ours, but just the way the market trades, and that's what we're here for, to educate, to entertain, and just honestly to be here with all of our traders. And we got a good family behind us now, starting to grow. So honestly, I'm not gonna like any negativity about any of the trades that we have. Is just. I'm going to ban you straight up. So, okay, what about AMC right now? I mean, I could take hits and stuff like that, but come on. All right, so let's go to the downside. And I'm sorry that if you're long Apple and I'm short, but it's still a win for me, and I am going to celebrate it, honestly, because we eat what we kill around here. So I'm pretty happy when we make some cash. So, all right, downside right there. I am looking, though, possibly, and I don't want to get out, but look at this has come back in now. So I'm actually going to cancel my higher Apple trade, because right now the 50 period is at a flat position for us. So we are short right now at this 177, and the 50 period's right back in there. Sorry, 177.50. That's right where the 50 period is. So, you know, if it does come back up, we'll get out. Otherwise, we'll see if it wants to continue to flow back in here on that downside. Good thing we took some out. Well, whatever. I have 40% left of SoFi in case this does collapse. But again, we're still going to try to use 80 as our out there if that comes through. Part of me feels like this market might have bottomed there, and I hate to say that because every time it's popped up, it's come back down. Did you just initiate a long there?
I actually did. However, before we get to that, hey, it's baseball season, and in a minute I'll probably check, because I could be on the clock once again, because these clowns are so slow in this draft that I'm doing. It's ridiculous. It's a 3-hour clock, but I just got out of FRG, and remember I said that 35 level? We like 33 for a target out, and that had everything to do with the volume on that break. But first time through, it bounced off 35. Another big capitulation candle that halted at 35.50. So jump in front of 35.50, get out of the trade, take the win. It's a short off that high. You don't always get a home run. It's still a bullish stock. This is still up 66%. keep that in mind. And it looks like it's trying to find a bid. We talked about that long. A couple of things here with Square, and I was looking for something that would give you a scalp trade off the bottom. First, because you're going against a counter trend, you're not trying to hit a huge reversal. It has to be something that was at an obvious low in the higher time frame, and it already tried to break through that low on the 15. The other thing that was happening here is here's like volatility, pullback in volatility, and 15,000 on the NASDAQ for a bit of a bounce. So we just took the first scalp trade at 138.50 off the 138 bounce. Now I'm looking to grab like 139s. This is not about holding it for the rest of the day, thinking you're coming into VWAP. No, you're counter trend, man. This is about a quick and easy bounce on the long. Maybe other ones are going to work too, but I wanted the one that was tightest to a level where I knew I was wrong, and you didn't have to hold a bunch against you. Like if you take NVIDIA long at 75, sure it works, but I don't think it's broken it supports down at 72. So 75 is just a round number. Here, Square, I knew exactly what we were talking about on the 15-minute. You can see it gets right back into yesterday's lows. That's exactly where it closed day before on Monday, right? Like you had this top. You had previous resistance turning into that support. There were lots of reasons why that level should have liquidity and volume and a reason to bounce when 15,000 got hit on the NASDAQ.
All right, so I just went long here on AMC, so let's wait to see what happens. AMC again on the 20-minute, we just wicked down into this area of 25, 30 and change. There's really nothing on the 20-minute. It's more that wick that I was worried about. So it just made a move down. Here we go, back up to the upside now, AMC. So like I said, man, we don't have a problem trading this name, even though are we down on it today? Yes, we are down on AMC slightly today. So now let's see if we can make it back, as here it goes, a nice little run back upside here on AMC on your 1-minute chart. Maybe that was a bottom. Unfortunately, I would have loved to have been on this, but I was too busy talking to you guys to see that wick bottom there. That's beautiful. We're going to take this. I'm not going to hold it back to that bottom, but if we take out 50 again to the downside, then we'll get out. So right now we're long at what, 79 change? I don't know, what does it show up there, 80s? Yeah, 80, so we'll just go with 80. We're long here, 11 cents now in the money on this. So far, so good. I'm looking at, honestly, like a retracement back to 26 would be pretty nice, and that's where we're almost there now. That 50 period is 26.12. So there it is, bang. Like, there we go. Like, see, what I'm trading is price action and charting and things like that. I know Prad's like, oh, I don't use charting or anything like that. But honestly, I do. And when that comes through right there, boom, that to the upside. I don't think he said he didn't use charting. He didn't use
That's not what he said.
Technical analysis, he said he didn't use.
Charting patterns he doesn't love. That's
right, exactly. So I do, and there to go again. So there's the pattern that I like right there to the downside. So boom, that goes upside up to 26 now. Another one for your boy right now. We'll go, yeah, AMC as it's starting to run. Who knows how high this is going to go, but right now we're pretty happy with our trading here today. Apple just retraced all the way back up. We talked about this, but there it is. 177.40 is going to be our out. We took a little bit of profit, but it's nice to see it starting to move a little bit back to the upside here. I don't know if it's going to hold. This is very, very telling with only 30 minutes left. What is the NASDAQ going to do right now? It's starting to go. Will it resist that and continue to go back upside? Only time will tell here for the NAS.
Yeah, the way that we market bounced off that 15, and on top of that, the way volatility came back in, I just got it at a firm flat. Because, why not? Like, if it's going to pop higher, I can short a better price. And that's the way I want to approach it. Because look at the pullback. If we resist this previous high in volatility, fair enough, then maybe you're going to get a bounce. And if we do bounce off here, I'll just take out block, square, wherever it is, if we actually get a bounce. But if we continue pulling back in and bounce off that 15,000, you want to hold on to some of those longs. And that's why we show you. And look, you don't have to trade. You don't have to care about the UVXY, what I was looking at, or bouncing off those support levels. It's more just about, do you find more than one reason to get into a trade? Because I find if you only have one reason to get in, usually not good enough. But if you can find a couple of things in there that you like, it gives you sort of that confidence that you're right or wrong. If this happens, when, then you can make that out. And if you can't figure that out, then you don't make the trade. I think that's really more what it's all about. I do want to check back in on FRGE. It is the biggest mover this afternoon. And I just wanted to quickly show, this buy at 35, still pretty much in there. It's similar to what was there at 40, and it's now bounced off this like 3 times. So it feels like that was the right reason to get out. And again, like I wasn't trying to be preachy about not shorting it through that 37 level because you probably would have made some money. But when it was like 60 cents now for the locates, that's pricey, and the risk to reward I didn't think was good enough. So yes, you would have won if you shorted it. All I was trying to get at there was the risk reward is not that great down there. And sometimes it's not about whether it would work that time. It's about if you did that same thing 100 times, when you see it the next 100 times that setup, is that a good decision? Would have worked here, don't think that's a good decision 100 times out of 100. And that's how you should evaluate it. Not whether it worked the first time, or whether it worked this time, or whether it worked today. How does it work if you do it every single time? If you short that, that's a pretty risky trade.
All right, let's do this for Neil on that FRGE trade. Awesome. I mean, you have the high of the day, so we'll go. Oh my God, good trade there on Forge right there with that high of the day. Well done on that one. You know, mad jealous. That was a good trade for sure. Okay, look at Rivian right now. It just took that out, so ho-hum. We'll bang that out one more time. A nice little $3.50 winner. Rivian was at the bottom. We did hold, like I said, it was 10%. If it was more, I obviously would have been getting out like I did before right there. But we do have a reload that's just happened, and it's SoFi. So let's see if this reload comes through. Remember, the NASDAQ right now testing these highs, or not these highs, but this 50 period. So if it breaks, I think that most of these shorts will get squashed, but there is a chance now that we reverse back down in. I guess the NASDAQ did hit that minus 1.5 like we had thought about, and retraced back in. So right now, that name's coming back in here for SoFi back to the upside. We're going to get out right here on this 80 break. So if that does come through, we're going to get out of SoFi. But right now, we've reloaded. Our average price is 75. So we're going to see now to the downside here, hopefully, for SoFi, especially if this market comes back in. And then there's AMC, man. We're going to hit this as well. Maybe Ape Nation wants to get going again here for AMC. So let's just wait to see, because here it comes. It just touched. Almost touched that 50 period. But we're going to be long right now on AMC. And there it is, man. 28 cents, man. There it goes. A nice little move here for AMC as it's starting to go back down or back up to the upside here. So good trade for me on this. 30 cents in the money on AMC, 18 cents in the money on Mullen. Was that just big size on Mullen? No. And then SoFi right now, almost out. If it takes out that 80, we're gone on SoFi. But we're pretty happy with the day's trade, needless to say, here today.
So I'm all out of Square block. I keep wanting to say Square. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to use some of the old ones, man.
Yeah.
It's a little disco ball action. Is there music that goes with that?
I believe there is.
Because we aren't hearing the music that I think is supposed to be going with that disco ball.
I think Mark's trying to figure out the sound. So
really?
Eventually we're going to get it. I think we're going to get a speaker.
I'm not into, not that I'm into disco, but there was a comment in the chat. It's like, amazing how Neil knew how to go long Square. Man, I ain't no ish. I look, honestly, like 15,000 on NASDAQ, round number. Level, like, I mean, seriously, previous day's low on the stock. I was going through, as you were talking, I was going through everything I could find at 15,000. Is there an obvious bid where it's about to bounce off of? And Square was right here. It was like right at 138 yesterday in the morning. It ran away from that price, which I love to see. Not just that it stopped, but did it then scream away from that price? And then that's it. It was the one thing I could find that was at that type of a level. You could have said 275 NVIDIA. Heck, I also just told you that I didn't like 275 on NVIDIA, and that just bounced up as well. But the difference being, look at the support on NVIDIA, down at 72s. I knew to throw that one away because we were trading those prices yesterday. But that's pretty much what it's all about. Like, when the market's coming down, be picky about where you get into a long. Hold on to your shorts. Give them a little bit more room. And yeah, if you're going to go counter trend, have a really, really good idea about the plan of action and a level that you can be confident about. And it's just about going through and knowing the symbols to watch. Someone had even just thrown Square into the chat, which is part of the other reason. Like, that's the only fintech I hadn't looked at. Those are all down. Maybe it's at a long level. And we happen to find one for you. And Brendan's got something else for you.
Fun fact for everyone. You guys were talking about Apple there, guys. We have, 23 minutes to make up 0.8% on Apple, or the longest winning streak since 2003 for this stock will be broken. 12 days in a row to the upside for Apple. We got to get up 0.8 or it's done.
Ooh.
Get to work. Do that thing that we did. Well, actually, it was myself and another trader when we were testing out futures trading for the company. So we're in simulation. By the way, we were in simulation when we did this, and they're like, we just make a ton of executions in sim mode in the future. So we had a PC in between the two of us that was in sim mode, and when the market was coming down, we just hit the buy key, buying a contract at a time, and then the second on like a 5-minute chart, it was actually an up candle, just start hitting the sell key. And we made in like 3 days, we're up in like play money, like 5 million.
You remember when Arun's program really did that?
No, it wasn't Arun.
I know, but I'm saying, remember when he did that in our floor?
No, it wasn't Arun, it was, you know the guy, it was Dennis, right?
Oh, it was Dennis, right.
So anyways, this did actually, I'm glad you mentioned that because, and it's a good point, because I know Baxter, he's running his program through the API, Day Trade the World.
Yep.
But
running it into the ground.
Well, come on, man. No, but we did have a trader on our floor who was, first of all, he's one of the, he's brilliant.
Super smart, yeah.
He starts talking programming, it's like, I don't understand any of it. Smart people don't understand him when he talks. But he went live with a program, and he hadn't done enough testing on it. Next thing you know, he's just auto-firing orders out into the futures, and within seconds, we're just like, holy-ish. Needless to say, that didn't work out, and he didn't. I don't even. Did he trade after that?
Probably, yeah. I mean, we probably gave him some sort of a leeway.
Maybe we gave him some leeway, but anyways, it's just one of those things. Risk management means everything, and it doesn't matter how good your plan is. Double, triple check it. If you are using an API or program trading, you all have robust testing. That's the more important thing. But no, Apple is probably not going to be able to make it. Not in this environment. It would take one heck of a reversal. And remember, Apple's had some 1 million sell imbalances every now and then as well, even into the teeth of its strong move.
I'm not helping any Apple shorters here, or longs, I guess, as we went reloaded into that short there. As Apple takes out our top, like we talked about there, at 40, and then you can see right there, there's another reload back in. So it's like, take 20 cents on the first, 20 cents, get out for flat, take it again back in here, and now we have another 25-cent winner here on Apple. So yeah, needless to say, we are reloaded back into the short, and then there comes SoFi right back down again. Here's the reload. Wow, did SoFi just do that for reals? Okay, let's go back in on SoFi. As you can see, AMC is starting to fall back down. We have our plan of action on that one. We tried it, man. It went up, it came back down. We're gonna get out if it breaks through 50 on AMC, but right now, really, Apple on a reload is what I'm looking at. We're also looking at SoFi on the reload as well, as that's starting to come, did start to come back in. I think it's pretty prudent for me to put something on the bid now of SoFi and see if we can't get out there. It is just cracks. Of course, as soon as I put it out there, we start getting some fills there on EdgeX and whatnot. As it comes back in now, there it goes right through 71. So there we go again. We'll go, oh, Canada. I have no idea why I hit that, but oh, Canada on the SoFi wins. I don't think SoFi is even banking in Canada. You can't open up an account if you're Canadian. So I don't know what the relevance of that was, but here we go. SoFi right now, try to make a move down. We're only 3 cents in the money, but that reload was off 80, man. And I just wish we had more shares up there near 80 to give us a better price. My last fill was at 76. So here it comes down to 70. Let's go SoFi, man. We are now the cash register going bang right here, and in a good way for some of these names.
Yeah, we're about to retest 15,000, but guess what didn't bounce? I was watching Square bounce, and the long worked out. Good thing we got out of it, but Micron didn't have any bounce at all. This is one to keep an eye on because, you know, you would think that when we reversed off 15, that Micron would catch a bid. It does the opposite. It's actually now broken the low of the day. And you start thinking about, like, how insane is that? Like, everything about the report was good. Where is support going to be on the stock? Because truthfully, Micron might just be something to pick up in the next couple of days. I can't see any other way around it. Like, if this market starts to come back in, it's got a great valuation.
I just say buy it now.
Yeah, you probably, well, I mean, we can't do that right now.
Oh, no, but
I get exactly what you mean. But it's one of those, like, you might have to just close your eyes for a day or two or just stomach it, but give me a break. Like, the report was fantastic. You're going to look back probably in a couple of years and be like, what in the actual heck happened on that day? And maybe we'll be able to figure it out with the way the market trades for the rest of the week. But unreal that it's making this move here. But here we are. You've got to be able to trade price action. A firm just went through my level and didn't give me the fill. I guess I didn't cross far enough on that.
Well, no man can cross it, so.
Apparently not. Was I too tight? Anyways.
All right,
I tried to get 85s on the 90 break. I just got it on the way back up, but I am into a firm. I should have got it right away, but either way, a firm finally takes that level out to the downside. I'm shorting it not off these 50s like before, but shorting it looking for a break as the market's trying to go through the lows again.
Yeah, so we did reload AMC a little bit here, down in near the bottom of those 60s there. So we got a nice little reload at 63 on AMC. So we'll see if we can't take some profit. There it is, right away. Ooh, no, where was my offer? 75s. Ooh, it went to 75 and turned around. We thought we got the fill, but we did not. So we'll wait to see now what's going to happen with AMC. Hopefully it comes to 75 and tests again. We're just going to get out, honestly, at 50 if it breaks. So we do want to hold for that big move, but let's just, I can't help myself. We got to scalp a little bit out here if it does break back. So right now, AMC trying to scalp, just go up to 75 and print, bro. I'm on a paid gateway, so it has to go through me. Let's see if that does happen here for us on AMC, trying to go back upside here. So there, ooh. It stopped and dropped on us again. I hate when that happens, but there we go. That's part of trading. So SoFi, I keep calling AMC SoFi. SoFi, we did get a bid down here again at 68 or 70. What was that best bid right there? We just got filled. Yeah, we just got filled, doubled up at 70 there. So we're liking this SoFi trade right now as it's starting to come down. But really, AMC, let's go. I'm waiting at 75 just out of principle. I'm not going to change it. But realistically, I think I should probably go to 74 right now. Let's just see if we get that 75 print on AMC, guys.
Yeah, I just had to take off CFEI. Like, it just couldn't, whatever. Like, couldn't catch a bid. Like, it had the news, fantastic, but without even breaking the low, it's like I'm not even going to bother holding it to the low of the day. It doesn't make any sense. Not with the market as weak as it is. It just couldn't bounce at all. I did get into a firm. I know some people are looking at Mullen, and hey, guess what? There are things that are still strong, right? It's not above $3, but it's above VWAP, and the more importantly, and I'll echo this only because I was shorting off of $3, so I can tell you it was not just that it was higher lows on Mullen, but the second time it did a failed break through 3. And I would know because I actually tried to go long on a 3 break, and it wasn't like it was bad after a bit. It was bad instantly and slammed back down, so I then reshorted it, and then it held 285 like an absolute horse. And that 285 level is exactly what we need to be watching when we go into tomorrow's trade, because it's holding it like an absolute champion. And if we get a chance to play off it, it's not just today. I'm going back in the 15. Look at what happened last week at that same price area. On the way down, when it died off of 420, where did it catch a bid? The same place it's pulling back into right now and cannot break. So if you're not looking at this kind of thing, this is what we sort of talk about by looking at price action. I like the levels, man. Let big buyers and sellers tell you where to buy and sell. Sometimes. You don't have to try to predict it yourself. Just look at where people were buying it in the past, and if you can use that information to your advantage, then go for it. But like, I wish I had looked back on Mullen when I was making that $3 trade, but that's a trade off the 1-minute chart on a $3 break. You're not always pulling it back to be able to see this, and if I had, maybe I wouldn't have thought I could get more than 10 to 15 cents on that trade. And then you could have looked at that dip buy for a long. And it's one of those things that you look back, try to do a little bit better the next time. It's one of the strongest things I can find here. Not much running going into this close, or at least to the highs. Mullen is certainly one.
All right. Yeah, Mullen. Oh, Mullen, yeah. We're still long that 73, but let's see what happens there for that name. AMC, yes, sir. We waited for that 75, and we get it. So there it is. Nice out there on AMC for 12 cents. Look, we're going to see about this trade right here. I'm hoping that we can get up to 26. We are sitting ahead of 26 to get out of some of these trades, as we only now have, this is, I guess, right now, early mock imbalance from Financial Juice, 791 buy side. So I'm feeling like that's where some of this is coming from right now. The NASDAQ is getting bumped up on a possible mock buy. So let's wait to see if that comes out to be true. Apple went down again, man. Like, we had another 40-cent win for us on Apple. I'm just going to get out if it takes it out again. So we'll see if that comes true for Apple. But we are still short on that name heading into the imbalances. I don't know if it's going to be right or not. I'm going to have to sort of cancel some of these orders.
You know what the problem is?
What's that?
So, like, remember I was talking about, and I'm in a firm, but I'm about to probably get out of it. Remember that level, that previous high on volatility? That actually just got broken back to the downside. And that was one of those things that if it takes this out, maybe it's a bit of a turn. And maybe I should have been holding on to some of that square position. But, yeah, it's going to get me out pretty much flat on a firm. But it's just, if I'm going to use that as an indicator, when we're dropping in volatility and we're still above 15,000, and we're 3 minutes from the imbalances as well, by the way, I'm not going to carry a short position into it, at least not something that's at the low. It's a very different story going into 350 if you're carrying something in the money as opposed to, I just got in and I'm at the money. I never want to be in that spot. You don't have any buffer to work with. It's almost like you're just flipping a coin. If you're in the money, it's like bank error in your favor if the imbalance kind of comes your way. Your trade hasn't been invalidated. But if I had shorts on 48, maybe it's a different story. I'd probably be trailing it anyways at that point. But once I saw the VIX volatility continue to go down, I'm really just asking myself why I got it a square too early, if anything, because that just made another turn. Sure, it's pretty much at the same price we got out, but once again looking strong, and there might be a small, tiny potential rally going into 350 here.
Yeah, 347, 45, 46, if you're following along with us, that's the current time here. So we're going to watch to see what happens. Obviously, these are the imbalances. These are not them right now. As you can see, the time here is 9:30. Those of you that watch the show know that, we're going to be all over these once they come out, and we'll let you know. We'll find out what's happening right now. But for right here, AMC, man, we're in the 90s. So if we can get this trade off, then we'll be pretty happy right now with our trading, obviously here on AMC. Going through, so hopefully we'll be able to get that short that long out here. Oh, it just missed us again. Just break through 90s, man, and we're there. There it is, bang. Nice one, yeah, let's go. AMC, man, good trading off the bottom. Like, stay long on this name. Like, again, boom, exploded the long there. We danced with the shorts, learned our lesson, then went long, let it fall all the way, tried to pick some bottoms, and I think we did pretty good. Long there, out, long again on the reload, out, out, out. Let's see now if it wants to get going to that upside with only a minute 15 now left in these imbalances, and we'll see where we go from here if there's going to be any trade. I think the imbalances might retrace back down short side today, but that's a big move here. Let's see if the market turns it around. I don't know. Again, like Neil said, you're kind of just like lucky if you're holding something and these imbalances come out. We can't predict where they're going right now, but this was a big move up, and I almost feel like it might just fade out here. So we'll wait to see what happens with these imbalances coming through now with only 45 seconds to go now before they do come out. AMC up to 25.91. That's a 27-cent winner. Apple's almost out. If it takes out that 177.60, we're back to flat on this. But let's see what happens as these imbalances come out. 177.60 is the out right there. Neil, I'll just keep on talking because
cool.
honestly,
I'm going to watch Rivian, if only because Rivian had that buy imbalance, spiked the dollar, and was a reversal. On the off chance it happens again, that's what I'm watching.
So we'll watch it right now just because we have the imbalances. Come to the screen now, Fahad. Thanks. Here we go. So now these imbalances are coming out in 8 seconds. We'll see where the market goes. We have the NASDAQ right here. You can watch this fluctuate. I have Apple, so we'll be out of this at a 177.60 break. But there it is. Wow, downside, Apple, downside. There's the market. And your boy called that one again. I said these imbalances will probably come to the downside. There they go. It's a downside move here. Apple getting extended now. I don't know. Maybe that's our opportunity to get out. I don't know if they're going to come to the downside or not. I don't see any big names here. So there's Apple.
JD.
Apple 1.15 milli to the sell side there. Yes, sir. We hit it again. We got that name to the downside. So there goes Microsoft and Apple, both to the downside right now. So good trading. There's Apple right here for you guys. You'll be able to see that. Apple to the downside, and we hit it again. Man, today is a good day.
Yeah, I can't complain about it. JD.com out there for $1.3 million to the sell side. That actually had a pretty solid move. I don't see a trade off of it. If it had been coming down to that low, then we would have put the same trade we did in Rivian. Microsoft also will sell, but it's not that big, about 750,000. There's a lot of really small names in there. KNDI, Candy makes you dandy. That's actually a buy imbalance, but that's a pretty nothing stock. It's only a $4 small cap. And it did make a move. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe there is a trade there.
And next time I'm trading those futures on that kind of a call. Mullen right now to the upside as well. We're going to get out of Mullen if it prints 9s. We'll get out of that. There it is. Yes, sir. Wow, what a good closing show I just had, guys. Like, that was unbelievable. We are basically at our highest spot we've been at all day today. Not basically, we are at our highest spot we've been at all day today. We are trying to take advantage of this move down in the futures. We are getting out of SoFi. Looks like it might be a mistake to get out of Apple, but bang, bang, bang. There it goes. We're out of Apple right now as that's going to the downside. And wow, I mean, couldn't be happier there with some of those trades that we put on here for you right at the end. So Apple downside, I talked about maybe that imbalance was going to flip sell, and it did. And there it comes right to the downside now. A nice little sell move here for the market. So, hey, Like, I just cleaned out of Apple. We cleaned out of SoFi there. We hit AMC. Actually got out of AMC there as well on that move. So that was a good trade. The only thing we have left is SoFi, and we hit that Mullen out at, look where we just got out of Mullen, man. Like, we got out at 09. Like, give me a break. It's at 03 now. That was a good out. So, yeah, I'm going to go buy that lottery ticket on the way home.
So if you remember yesterday, like, there was an easier trade on Rivian, but as I was going through the imbalance list, the only buy that was any size was KNDI. And when I pulled it up, you're going to see the same thing as Rivian. You're going to have the high of the day at 365. You're going to have basically nothing happening, trading down around 345. And then on the imbalance, it spikes right into the high of the day. So it's a simple trade. Short 64, break 65 out. And then just try to get out on the way down. Now, it is a buy imbalance. So it's not like you can sit there and say, oh, yeah, it's not going to, you know, it can't break any higher. These things always pair off. They might pair off. It doesn't mean it has to. If this stays at 3 million shares to buy, you better believe it's going to go. But just like Rivian, you get the top, and you have to have a level to play off with that trade. Like, you wouldn't do this in the air, but it just happened to spike into the high of the day. So 2 days in a row, same setup. I thought maybe it would happen on Rivian. It was at the lows, but KNDI, candy makes you dandy, Brendan.
All right, we'll get you some earnings here, get you set for some earnings, guys. Aftermarket tomorrow. I wanted to show you one, though, that's actually on the board. Path had a huge flush there, 29.50, which was actually the low from yesterday. So maybe somebody got stopped out on quite a large amount of shares, because that was a huge volume spike at day lows there for Path, guys. But here's what's coming up tonight for earnings.
Yeah, and they're right there in the middle. That's UiPath. So good call there, Brendo, on that. Someone might know something there. I know, Neil, you talked about, I don't own any Walgreens Boots Alliance, but another good name there. We actually, when we were in, actually we didn't. We went to CVS. I was going to say we went to a Walgreens, but we didn't. We went to a CVS there. You know, you still need to get COVID tests and stuff like that to fly back. As of April 1st, you don't need that anymore, but we did at that point. So CVS for the win there. But Walgreens, a good name. We'll see about that report. Should be okay, but again, you know, to sit here and talk about supply chain and everything like that, we'll just wait to see where they come out. I like UiPath. I do own a little bit of it. Picked some of these names up on some of the bottoms. You know, I was selling TDOC and things like that, but we did pick up some UiPath, but it's been pretty sick. I actually switched over to ARC-Q. We talked about that, and I own some ARC as well, just because I think the valuation is just, not that the valuation is any good, but just the move down has been pretty epic, and it might be time to sell some of those that were in the money now on those. So anyways, UiPath continues to, you know, to disappoint. We'll see if they could turn a profit, but other than that, man, 24 bucks could be looming on UiPath. This is not, if you're playing options, I think you're probably primed to make some money on them if you have them today, but I feel like it's going to be a monster move, and I just not comfortable calling the direction on that.
I don't think it'll be a monster move on Walgreens Boots Alliance, but you never really know, because this earnings season's been crazy. I will say this: there's a very good chance that if it goes down to 43, 44 and has any kind of bounce, I just love picking it up. It pays a solid dividend, and that's more of a long-term type of bet. If you like the space, sometimes, you know, buying when everyone else is a little bit concerned is a good way to get into it. The market is still trying to get back to the upside. It's not doing a fantastic job of it, but hey, the effort is certainly there. I ended up getting out of, like I said, I got out of that Affirm. Essentially, it was just, you know, the entry, it wasn't really going, right? Like you can see, and then the bounces came out to the downside. And again, it's just not really accelerating, and that's one thing you have to look at. You can like a concept getting beat up by Apple and the Apple news and thinking it'll fall with the market, but didn't do it. Square also, just kind of noting some relative strength here, it is still managing to hold up off of that level. So yeah, will I be watching that 138, 137 high price tomorrow if it comes into play? Sure. You saw it be interesting for 2 days in a row. And just keep in mind, when you've got a level like that, it works in both ways. You get below this price and you've got room to run. And you got to be able to consider that. Just because it bounced twice off that level doesn't mean it's an auto long and you can't reverse. But Square, after seeing it reverse at that price, you better believe we'll be looking at that tomorrow, 137.5 to 138.
So CAI asked to see the imbalance locator, so here we go. LU, I don't know, maybe there's some index action there or something. Not index, but well, maybe index, or maybe that's being, I don't know what LU even is. And other than that, iTub, I mean, there's really nothing on here. XPEV with a nice little buy, Pfizer with a buy. All the sells basically turned to buys. I mean, some of these are smaller stocks. Twitter's there as a buy, but I don't really see anything on there. But there is the imbalance locator if you want to take a look. And again, if you wanted the imbalance locator, what you could always do is go back to 350 when I was actually showing it on the show, and then pause it and have a look, and you could see what was there at that time and trade accordingly. But right now, I'm not going to look at it because there's nothing. There you go, UiPath. What did Apple wind up doing? Good question, Sean. Ripped up to the upside. So, and when you talk to yourself, maybe there are some problems there. But yeah, so good point there, getting out on that move down. So again, this is the one tip that you're going to have, and I think Neil and I, and probably Arun talks about this all the time too, and that is that like you play the momentum off that imbalance. It doesn't mean that like the stock wants to go down. It's a technical reason that there was 1.8 million, or I think it was 1.18 million shares to sell of Apple. So when that happens, there's an immediate move to the downside. Now, if the market continues, then the pressure would continue with Apple. But everybody knows that a market on close order for Apple is not going to stay, because everybody, people are like, oh, I can buy and sell this name at the close. I'll just do it. I'll pair that off. Like, there are people looking for actual liquidity on Apple, so that it's not even here anymore. Where is it now? I don't even actually. Let me hold on a second. I'm just going to try to sort it. Here it is, right here. AAPL. See, so now it's a buy imbalance. Look, there was 7 million shares on Apple. What
the heck?
Oh, it's a garbage guy. Okay, I was going to say, hopefully that's not someone beating something down. But there it is right there. Apple had 7 million shares to sell, now paired off, right? So someone came in and was like, oh, I'll take all of them shares. So there you go, Apple. Just a little talk about the imbalance locator. We're holding on to SoFi, but again, it's just because we were able to get out there on the imbalance. I thought maybe it would tick to the low side, but obviously as the market's coming up, let's just dump our SoFi for flat at 75. Call it a day. A nice positive stock for me, SoFi today.
Yeah, and the other thing about the imbalance is I know we've done videos on them in the past, and certainly every time Arun's on it, he's given that rant as well. And if we haven't, maybe it's something that we do need to do for you guys, because it's all about market information and growing. It doesn't mean you have to trade off of them, but hey, if you've empowered yourself with more knowledge, that's a first step. You could make 0 trades, but if the market taught you something, then guess what? Then you've done some good work, and hopefully that's what we're able to do. A little bit of a bounce. We're not going to get green on the day, and Apple's probably not going to get back to that winning streak that it had. But hey, any kind of a bounce, we're not ending the day on the low, is not too bad. It is going to be just Miss V on the bell today. At least I think. I saw Maggie run by, but Tony, hopefully he'll be back tomorrow. He was just feeling a little bit under the weather. Too much dancing, probably.
Yeah. I don't know why Maggie ran away. She's been on the bell before.
She could have just rang them.
Okay, with only 10 seconds to go right now, it is going to be Miss V with her green. The market's rallying right now, so it's pretty damn close. For that, we'll get to a hit from Brendan with only 3, 2, and 1. There we go. I like that. See, that's my favorite kind of bell ring there. Nice muted bell ring there. A little bit of a rally tone in that. So I'm definitely liking that. We got out of our SoFi trade. We are now flat on the day. It was a very good day. That Mullen. Why are people saying Mullen? Yeah, we got out at 10 there, or 9 for our last little piece of Mullen. I thought maybe it would start to rip there, and I was like, oh, God. But right now, out of everything, make sure all your script and stop orders are now canceled. Mine are all canceled. If you have any limit orders out there, make sure they cancel. Your broker may fill them for you at any point. Oh yeah, here goes Mullen is starting to go right now, up through 310. Mullen starting to get volume, boy, in the aftermarket here. Mullen up to 310. But Brendan, I know we have more to talk about than just Mullen. How did this market wind up? I actually wasn't following the S&P.
Yeah, nice move into the close there, guys. Back to the upside, back in the right direction. Just seeing as well, Meta saying new voice message features on WhatsApp coming. Heads up on that. But here's the market for you, 0.6. For the S&P. So yeah, well off the lows there. The NASDAQ 1 leading the way, 1.08. Nothing terribly exciting otherwise. 2.9 there for crude oil. That was off the highs. But yeah, did we get a move in FB there? Interesting note right at the close.
In Facebook?
Yeah.
What did he say?
He said look at Facebook. So let's just look at Facebook.
It was just a minor thing about WhatsApp.
No, it just looks like it might have wicked up here. Nothing too much. Shout out there to Javier Medina, because he said now he understands the market was bearish day because there was no Tony Pepperoni.
That's exactly
and maybe there is something to do with that. So the next time Mr. Pepperoni's not here, apparently.
He said he'd be back.
Well, where did that name even come from? Oh, that was Miss V who came up with that name.
Hilarious said he ate too much pepperoni, and that's why he wasn't feeling well.
Right. So hey, maybe she's onto something. You know something that we don't there, Valeria?
I actually looked towards you.
No, yeah, look at her. Look at these two. Okay, let's go, guys. We do have the trade of the day coming up. Yeah, both of these guys. Thank you to Trader Prad, held down during the midday show. That was really fun. We get a lot of, props and everything for that midday show. So big thanks to Miss V and to Trader Prad for that show there. Oh, yeah, this is what we need. There you go. Pizza. There you go, Neil. Is that Tony on that pizza? Let's see that again. Is Tony on there? We need to put Tony's face on that pizza. That would be kind of funny, I think, if we eventually did that. But, hey, it was a great show. We have some big earnings tomorrow with UiPath and Walgreens. I don't know.
There's something else, too.
Some kind of earnings there anyways.
NNDM. Nano Dimension.
Nano Dimensions?
I can't even. Sorry.
Maybe. Why not? Why is that so funny? Anyways, we'll be back tomorrow, guys, 8:30. Thank you. Oh, I didn't say thank you to everybody. Thank you to Fahad. Thank you to Lucas. Thank you to Ms. V. Thank you to Brad. Thank you to Mark. Thank you to everybody. Maggie's over there as well. And get well soon, Tony Pepperoni. And we will see everybody tomorrow. Ciao, guys.